Warrior Shrine Podcast has begun, your number one source for all the geeky fighting game stuff.
Okay, now without getting too technical, we're going to get into some of the geeky fighting game moments out there.
As Ed Boon calls it. We are joined by a very special guest all the way from Ireland. Hopefully, we don't lose him again. It's tumultuous connection issues are plaguing Ireland right now. Evan is with us. How are you, Evan?
I am good, sir. I am very, very good. My connection may not be good, but I indeed am good.
Evan went to the London Mortal Kombat 11 event.
He did indeed. I was there covering it for TYM, and obviously for no other reason. It's not like it was a dream come true or anything. Yeah, I was there. I got to play the game for between 4 and 5 hours. I played enough of it that I was sick of it and wanted to go. Yeah, so I'm here to answer any and all questions, to discuss the game, and to allay some fears I think Django and Temp have with the game.
And as he said, Temp is also here. Hey, you are here, right?
What's up, everybody?
I don't know if you saw it, Evan. Temp and I got blown up for our reaction.
Well, you see, I don't read YouTube comments because I'm not begging for intellectual pain, so I didn't. Indeed.
We invited on ourselves for wading into the venue of YouTubers, so we kind of have to. We do podcasts here and there. We don't have to. That's not true. But we have. And a lot of them were unsatisfied with our reactions. But you know what? We did another podcast, and it was great. And everybody heard the truth. We obviously really liked what we saw during the reveal event. I thought the show was whack, but whatever. The game itself looks fucking great. And finally, we're going to get to talk about why the game looks really great. To me and to Temp. I don't want to put words in Temp's mouth, but he really, really hates it.
I'm a big fan.
He's a big fan. We're both big fans. So we've been trying to do this thing where we usually like talk about or try to put out like, you know, what our itinerary is for the episode, a table of contents up front, but it's really just one big thing. We're gonna fucking talk about Mortal Kombat 11, and we're gonna talk about the geeky fighting game stuff. We're gonna talk about the geeky other stuff, but it's all about that. So what did you, Evan, hear from about Takeda?
You were told that in confidence, you piece of shit.
You know, I'm gonna take that as official confirmation. Takeda's in the game. Man, I really need my I need him. I really need him, and I like how Sub-Zero looks. I'm hyped as fuck for Sub-Zero.
Yeah, having played Sub-Zero, you don't need Takeda. Sub-Zero is very enjoyable in this game.
No. I definitely don't need Takeda. I just really want Takeda. I really want Takeda. I don't need to make this sound any creepier than it already does. I just want that character's fucking sick. I want to see fucking more Takeda for every reason under the rainbow. He fucking makes Scorpion more interesting when he's around. He makes Scorpion not a tard. He's got 2 dads. Like the list goes on and on. He's a fucking sick ass character. He's got whips. I mean, anyway, okay. Where did we start, Tim? What do you think?
I mean, there's a few places where we can start. I guess if I were to give an overall encompassing opinion, I like the game a lot, and there's almost nothing I would change right now. The one thing everyone's asking for them to do is to increase the speed of dashes or to decrease the startup on dashes, and I do not think that's a good idea. I would leave them alone right now. I know why they're saying that. We'll get to that later, but right now there's almost nothing, not a single thing I would change about the game that's been confirmed. Now, as for stuff that hasn't been confirmed, there's stuff I'm hoping they'll do with the variations. There's stuff I hope we get more roster blocks, but I mean, to tell you the truth, I want to spend as little as possible time talking about the roster. I am so tired of talking about the potential roster. I've discussed that to death, and it's probably my least favorite discussion point of this game so far. Everything else looks fantastic. Everything else.
I hope you don't have like your whole binder there full of roster talk.
That's okay. I'm slowly shredding notes.
Yeah, just rip that out of there. Sorry.
It's just a printout with a like roster and bold letters.
I can sum it up by saying it's gonna suck dick. But yeah, go ahead.
I think this might be the first fighting game I've ever seen where I'd be like, I would not change anything right now. Everything is, at least on paper, perfect. I can't think of a fighting game I've ever said that about. I definitely didn't say that about MKX. This game looks really good,
no.
and I don't know if you want to structure this episode as in like list all the positives we have, and then after that list all the negatives we have, or I don't know if you want to go by topic to topic.
That
where
seems.
We start with like mechanics, and then we go on to variations, and then we move on to
Holy shit.
the characters. I don't know how y'all want to structure this, but I'm down for whatever. I
This
basically
is
have my
the
PDF
fighting
ready.
game stuff. Ooh. You have a PDF?
Oh no, I have a Google Doc.
Did you? Okay, that's not a PDF.
Yeah, I know. Well, not yet. It could be.
All right. Well, don't convert just yet. Let me. Here's something that I would like to start with this. I should have asked Evan just now what he wanted to start with since he's the guest, but I'm being rude. Sorry, I'm letting all my Man, we're both from the South, Temp. That was random.
Texas is more Southwest. So.
That was random. You're right. I was gonna make a Southern gentleman hospitality, that sort of joke.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of, we have a foot in each category. We're not too far off from that.
What I want to know. Okay, Evan, I'm gonna ask you this. Are you happy in general with the change of the overall pace? Were you really into like the MKX pace? Like, this is a very divisive situation, and it's a very broad thing, I think, and kind of sums up a bunch of things. How do you feel about the change of pace, generally speaking?
I couldn't be more happy. Couldn't be happier with it. I couldn't be more in favor of it. I thought the pace in MKX is bullshit. I could be conciliatory here and say, you know, some people like it, but no, it was bullshit. I like a fighting game that's more than 50-50s and 33-33-33s and mix-ups and
more than a 50.
I fucking hated that game so much. No, I was delighted. I'm delighted with the pace. I've heard comparisons to Street Fighter. I don't think that's unfair. Certainly, there's an emphasis on pokes, and pokes more so than footsies. That wasn't in MK9. I do think that probably the best comparison is MK9 with MKX buttons, which is great because MK9 did have a slightly stiff kind of jank feel to it. But I'm incredibly happy with the pace. It's not slow. It's deliberate. I think that's the best way of putting it. The game doesn't feel slow. It feels purposeful. It feels like you need to know what you're doing next, if that makes sense.
Yes, and that's exactly what I picked up on. Like, it's as soon as I saw it, I'm like, man, we might get to go back to patient combat.
There's a lot of patience to this game. This game needs you to be patient. Yeah.
MKX just discouraged you from ever being fucking patient, even though I played a character with an ice clone. I still I was like, I gotta do something. I don't have to do anything. I'm fucking hiding behind an ice clone. But MKX is just like, you gotta do something. Fucking throw it. Like, you run, like, whatever. And it's like, no. But this game, I was so happy to see the change to, like you said, deliberate, and there's patience, there's footsies, there's spacing. But you know what? There's not an ice clone.
There isn't. There's no ice clone. I thought of you when I saw that, and I thought of the fact that NJPs don't launch anymore.
Yeah, I thought of me too.
So, what's the point in Takeda coming back if he doesn't have a broke ass neutral jump punch?
Well, Scorpion does have a variation with a pop-up
jump.
Yep.
Yeah, if Scorpion equips the Sin Blade special, he gets. See, I have fucking notes over here, bro. If he equips the Sin Blade ability, he gets a jump 2 that NJPs, and I think he gets some low pokes with the sword that give him a lot of range.
See, all I need is just that one variation with Takeda to ruin everyone's life. It's gonna be fucking great. Man, no ice clone though. I have thought about this every day we're like 8 days. Yeah, it was last Thursday was the event, I think, wasn't it? Was it Thursday?
It was. Yep.
It was. And I know there's the I forgot what it was called. It's called. It has a really
Arctic Trap.
Arctic Trap. There it is. I knew it was a stupid name. But you know, it's a fucking frozen cloud.
Yeah, basically. It makes me think because I'm pretty sure Frost is going to be in the game.
Are you?
Which I am, and I'm not too happy with it because I'm not a fan of Frost. But I wouldn't be surprised if they gave her Ice Clone because you can't even equip Ice Clone. In the variation menu, in the abilities. Now they could obviously, I suspect they will add more abilities in the final build.
Yep.
But,
well, man, you just invited a whole mess of questions. What I see, I've been telling myself that the Ice Clone will be part of Combat Pack 1. It'll be a returning character. It'll get its own slot on the screen, and they will make everything right. But it's gonna feel bad because they're gonna put the Ice Clone behind a paywall. But I will pay that wall. I will pay that wall as much as it asks for to get that clone. Why have somebody? Okay.
Sensitive secret information redacted.
I think they identified that as a problem early on, saying this game's meta is just not going to be clone friendly. So, yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I said this on the 100th anniversary. I know that episode had a little bit of sound quality issues, so I don't know how much everyone heard. I still need to re-listen to that. I haven't heard it myself. But Tom Brady kind of went on to say the same thing like a week later, saying that he's glad the clone's gone because they can now design the character without having to sort of organize everything around the clone. They can kind of liberate the character because his damage had to be nerfed because of the clone. Everyone had to have more armor moves because of the clone. So it just wasn't good for anybody. So now that the clone's gone, I think the game's going to breathe better. This new move, I mean, it's like an Ice Clone, but it's really not. There's two very big differences. One, instantly, is just startup. It takes much longer to get it going.
Way longer.
Significantly longer. And I don't know what the properties are if he gets hit. I don't know when it becomes active and how long it stays active. If it even goes away when he gets hit. And also, another big difference is that... he can project. It does not eat projectiles. It does not have a projectile hitbox, I guess the better way to put it is your projectiles go through it, so you can still zone Sub-Zero. You can't hide behind that. Scarlet would be able to zone him out, and he just keeps throwing out, icy clouds. It's just not a viable anti-zoning tactic anymore, and that's what made him so hard to beat in MKX. If you had a character who had a slow projectile, it's like the clone would eat the projectile, and while you were still in recovery, he could run and jump. It was horrible. So they fixed a lot of the problems I had. I hope Ice Clone is not back. I do not want to see Ice Clone come back. At least the utility of it. If they want to put it in a normal, where if he throws you into a clone, or that would be fine. But I do not want to see the special comeback.
I was gonna say the same thing that you pretty much just did, and talk about the controversy that is the Ice Clone, because it is an elephant in the room. The Ice Clone was has been such a big deal for a while, and it was such a big deal that in Injustice 2, Ice Clown, Chrome is right. Injustice 2, that was his whole trait, that was his whole deal. The clone was his big fucking thing, and then it's just gone. Obviously, I love the Ice Clone. The Ice Clone. By the way, tell me any point if I start clipping, because I don't want to keep talking like a moron if I sound like Cyrax.
You sound good right now. I think you sound all right.
Okay. Also, tell me if my dog is too loud. He is snoring like a bitch. He has no interest in Sub-Zero.
I didn't know you had a dog.
I know you had a dog either.
Tip always says that he doesn't know I have a dog every time I talk about my dog. I talk
I
about
just
my
forget. It's just not information I have to use in daily life. It's just not. It's not
okay.
Intel that I have to apply, so it goes away.
Well,
it's
you
lost
need to
in all the IPAs I drink.
correct that, sir. Fucking incorporate my dog into daily conversation. Make it part of your life. Man, he is.
I'll bring it up with my clients.
Oh, dude, that's good. He's a black Chinese pug, and your clients like that sort of thing. They do. It's a really good distraction, especially if you want to pick their pockets. The Ice Clone. I love the Ice Clone so much, but obviously Tom Brady's right. And I agree with Tom Brady. It's a fucked up move. It's always been a fucked up move. It's a fucked up move. I liked it because it was fucked up in my favor, but I know exactly why it's not there, especially seeing this video game. It's like, just no. Like, you know, there's a more interesting thing that you can do without it. But, you know, I can also understand people like Razor, who's really not happy about the clone being gone, but he's not happy about the clone being gone for other reasons. But I think
is Razor not happy with the clone being gone?
Oh, do you remember exactly what he said, Tim?
I was not aware of this. I mean, I can see Razor being upset about it, but I have not talked to him about the topic. No.
Well, you've seen his opinions on like the Baraka Spark. Like if Baraka didn't have a spark anymore, it's
with the
more
metal blades and whatnot. Yeah, I did discuss with him.
Well, it's about like legacy and thematic authenticity, I guess. Like they've always had the move, so do the move. It's never been a problem before now, so do the move. And that was my Razor impression. Sorry.
So yeah, work there.
Yeah, you have to do a little laugh after you say anything.
Yeah, listen, I'll work on it. Okay, but I get it, but at the same time, like, you know, that thing didn't need to be in here. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I mean, I remember playing Razor and MKX, and I used Grandmaster. I think though the last times I ever played MKX with Razor,
you used Grandmaster?
Very briefly. I used him for like a week, and I was just doing corner setups, and Razor was like, "This is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen." And you know what? He's 100% right. That's why the Ice Clone needs to go.
It is the biggest bullshit. It's fucked up. It's like in a 2D fighting game. It's a fucked up move. It's always been a fucked up move. But you know what? It's cool because it was in my favor. But I know why it's gone. And I agree. Tom Brady's right.
I mean, if I was going to play devil's advocate, I think one way you could balance it is if it took 2 bars of offensive meter. I think that might be a compromise everyone could agree on. But yeah, exactly. If you're going to use an Ice Clone, you better use it right or eat shit.
Chopping its balls off. Like, here you go. You can have it. You're never going to use it unless you're a moron. You can have it.
Well, I mean, I can see corner utility even if it has 2 bars. Man. You have the life lead. I'd do that, yeah.
Is this still going to go away on block?
I hope.
Clone goes away on block. Man, I'm going to miss all that shit so much. Look at that knee.
I mean, I could see it having like 1 bar. I think that's not a bad call if it took 1 bar of defensive meter, because some of Garrus's more fucked up specials take 1 bar of offensive meter. So I don't think that's out of the question.
Garrus has a clone.
Garrus does have a clone. He's a sand clone.
It's fucked up, dude. I don't know what that thing does. What does that thing actually do?
With Garrus's clone, you can teleport to it, and that doesn't cost anything. Or you can blow it up to pop the opponent up, and that costs you 1 bar of offensive meter.
Ooh, okay, all right. Man, I'm gonna miss throwing my clone. There's not many things in a fighting game I've ever done with any character that's as satisfying as hitting someone with the Ice Clone, just throwing it at them. Man, I need to go play Injustice 2 sometime. Okay, listen. I think that we've said all that you can say about the clone. May it rest in peace. Damn it.
I mean, but the clone being gone, I think it just so part of the spirit of this game. I think this game is going to be so much more fun and so much more honest, but so much more layered. Like, it's not just going to be a cash-in mentality anymore. That's what I love about it. And yeah, I don't know. They really fixed everything I want them to fix. I think the smartest thing they fixed, or not my favorite thing they fixed, but the smartest fix they put in the game so far is how they handle gaps. They got rid of all the armor, but there will still be some chain combo gaps. And now Flawless Block has taken the place of armor in the defensive meta. So it's going to take more skill, and it's still not 100%. It's not guaranteed damage. You have to do a successful setup. At least right now, my understanding is you just get pressure with... I could be wrong about that, but even if I am wrong about that, at least there's a skill barrier now, and that makes a world of difference. And it's not like I want to really hit anyone with my EX slide anyway in MKX. It's like, oh, I guess the gap. Here's my EX slide. Man, I'm sure going to miss that meter. So it's just a win-win for everyone. It wins for the defensive side and it wins with the offensive side. It's so smart. And that's the tip of the iceberg, guys. I have so much I want to talk about. But that's, I think, one of the highlights for me for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. The push blocks are gone, right?
Yes, 100%.
I'm pretty sure that, yeah, they said the flawless block kind of replaces the push block, right? Or at least, like, they kind of want you to use flawless block where you would use push block before, but you have to be a little smarter about it, obviously, and better.
And armor, not even just push block, but where you would have normally armored, now that's your flawless block opportunity. Again, I think it's so smart. That's the perfect solution to one of the dumbest problems with both Mortal Kombat X and Justice 2. It's such a beautiful fix. I think it's a win-win for everybody, in my opinion.
No, I think so too. It does not cost any meter just to like do a flawless block, right? The meter comes if you want to do one of the moves after it, right?
I think 1 bar of defensive meter if you choose to do a up to. It's weird calling it doing a wake up after a flawless block, but that's essentially what you're doing. You're doing up to for a wake up move if you do a flawless block. Now, if that is every flawless block opportunity, maybe that's only for flawless block specials. I don't know if that'll happen with a chain combo. It's not clear. But I also know if you flawless block the first hit of a chain, then you don't have to keep flawless blocking every hit after that. It's not like Third Strike where you just parry every hit of the Shoryuken. No, if you get the first hit, you're good. You're super good. You just keep blocking and you get all the benefits of the flawless block.
And that, like, it's a big deal. I want to see. I want to be able to see exactly. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much like chip damage that negates and whatnot. 16-bit said it was a lot.
I think it's. Oh, well, I know when you flawless block a projectile, it negates all chip. You take no damage whatsoever.
All of the chip, man. That's crazy. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun video game.
I think flawless block. Like, I found it very difficult to do. But maybe
right. It does have to be tough though, because you don't want to have like just have like every fight being parry fests.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that will happen if everybody's being Daigo, then Daigo's not being very cool. But when it does happen, you heard the timing was 3 frames. Praetor says he heard the timing was 3 frames. The window, yeah, I mean that's tight.
That's what I heard as well. Yeah,
that's tight, but I mean it needs to be that tight.
I think 3 frames is actually pretty generous, to be honest with you, because a lot of my Street Fighter V links are 3-frame windows, and I don't think those are super hard. It might be hard in the neutral, like if Scorpion's doing his like back 2 and you flawless block it in the neutral, like that's really impressive. That is difficult for 3 frames, but if like there's a gap between the second and third hit of a chain combo, I think you could blab that timing fairly easy. I don't think that's going to be I think that's going to be pretty standard in the meta once people get better at the game. That's I would say medium execution.
I always wish that I knew. Does I highly doubt anybody's gonna know this off the top of their heads, but what the input window is for Third Strike parries?
I don't know.
I always want to know.
Praetor might know though.
Praetor, are you a genius who's gonna make my day? Please.
See, I don't know if it's going to be the same for every move, because I think it's based on I don't know. It's hard because you press forward, I think, before they go into active frames. Maybe you have X amount of frames for the window.
And Third Strike?
By the way, cats, guys, friends, we should probably redirect you to the Mortal Kombat thread after we answer this question, just so we don't congest the question thread. Well, we do appreciate, though. We thank you for listening, guys. But
always trying to find out. Bless you, Praetor. Oh, man. God,
yeah, good guy, appreciate it, dude.
Good guy, Praetor. What was I fucking gonna say? I had something that was sick. I don't know.
Honestly, go ahead. At least early on, I am not going to be flawless blocking projectiles. I don't think you need to in this game. For me, I'd rather just make sure I don't take the damage and continue my forward trajectory. That's more important to me. People are really concerned about zoning, and if you watch the footage, I mean, granted, no one really knows anything yet, but I am not worried about the zoning at all. every time zoning was successful in the matches, or I'd say 80% of the time zoning was successful, it was because the other player was failing to counter zone. I mean, you could jump most of the projectiles on reaction. And on top of that, like, the risk reward is hugely in the offender's favor if someone's trying to zone defensively. Because it's not like Injustice where you can just Dr. Fate projectile all day and the other person has no way of building meter. If you keep someone out, they are building resources while you're doing that, while you're spending resources to zone. So most of the time zoning was successful, it was because people were getting their counter zoning blown up. That was especially true with the Scarlet matches. That's how I felt, at least.
Another thing, one thing I wanted to ask you, Evan, how did the I'm trying to think, like, how much was the recovery like on block? Like, how long was hit stun? Generally speaking, because I'm looking at a lot of the combos and generally, and it seems pretty slow as far as like when the attacks come out and like, oh, maybe you can gap there, maybe you can't gap there, maybe you could do a flawless block. Like Scorpion has some stuff like that doesn't seem that fast. Maybe you could do a flawless block in there, but you know that depends on the amount of hit stun. Do you remember anything about that, or like how it felt to you as far as that goes?
It did feel to me like there was a degree of hit stun. Now, I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention to it. I was more trying to get a feel for all of the characters and the kind of the general meta of the game.
I guess that's a good idea.
It did feel to me like there was a degree of hit stun, but I can't testify either way.
That'll be something that's really interesting to watch. And obviously they're not done. Boy, that's a whole other issue separately that I want to talk about later. But yeah, like the speed at which these hits come out and the speed of the strings in general seem flawless block handy or useful or whatever.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the strings aren't quick. I think it was Ketchup and Mustard said the fastest string they could find was 8 frames, I think.
That's pretty standard for NRS, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty it is pretty standard, but I mean, if you could, like, there's a notable speed difference between the D1 and the D3 and everything else. In that, I mean, your combo starters all seem to me to be well over 10 frames. The game, in terms of startup on moves, it's categorically a lot slower than MKX.
Well, yeah, go on.
No, go on.
I'm not terribly worried about that. 8 frames sounds slow, and it is if you're trying to get pressure. Because any MKX down 1 is going to be an 8-frame move. But since range has been increased, since pokes are just overall better in this game, 8 frames is pretty good. One of my main pressure tools in Tekken is 13 frames, and that's almost across the cast. Usually, if I'm pressuring in Tekken, I will do standing 1, but most of the time I'll do a down forward 1 because I want that mid. So I think if we're looking at a poking game, Scorpion's the only one I really tested the range stuff on. I was looking at videos. I was kind of measuring, like, okay, where can I do that at mid range? I think the range is going to make up for that frame increase. I don't think that now combo starters. I'll have to check that out more, but I think 8 frames is pretty good. I think that's pretty solid.
Man, I had something. What was I going to say? God, throw me off, Simp, with your fucking really good insight. Yeah.
I tried, Django.
Yeah, I mean, I played the majority of my matches with Scarlet, so like I have 2 pages of notes on Scarlet. I kind of fell in love. Her down 3 was 9 frames and had really good range, and I never felt like it was too slow. I always felt it was just right. Her normals, some of her normals are a bit slow on startup. But I never felt I was kind of hamstrung by slow startup. No.
I actually have a question for you then, because Scarlet's is by far the character I'm most interested in. How safe is Scarlet's mid-range normals?
I think they're not necessarily safe in terms of frames. Now, obviously, everything I say, particularly with regards to frames, is subject to wild change.
Or it could change, yeah.
Yeah. So her normals, I don't think they were kind of unduly safe in the way a lot of Sub-Zero's normals were safe. But I think they were safe in terms of the range and the potential pushback of them. I think that would play a larger part in making her safe.
I'll take that. I mean, 16-bit said she was the mid-range queen, so...
Oh yeah, footsies wise, she's extraordinary.
16-bit says everyone's got mid-range all the time. You play a drinking game with 16-bit, every time it says mid-range, you're gonna be fucking on your ass, dude.
But if he's right, dude, Scarlet might be senpai. That's a big deal for me. I mean, as a Rose player, that is exactly what I'm looking for in a character.
Yeah, Scarlet was all about footsies and was all about zoning. She had an easy launch with her back 3-4. I mean, I think you could only get real damage off it in the corner, but from my perspective, she had footsies, she had zoning, she had teleport. So and she's her win pose is literally raining blood. So as a Slayer fan, I was like,
from a lacerated sky.
Yeah, bleeding its horror. Yeah, I was all about Scarlet. I was very impressed with Scarlet, and that's coming from someone who
plus on blur. Yeah, no, she looks good, dude. I'm scared of Scarlet. I'm really scared of her because Tip is excited. She looks good. I'm gonna get wrecked by her a lot. I think I can see this happening.
I'm only worried there's gonna be too many Scarlet players. I have to accept there's a strong possibility I might not get one of my preferred trio back. I think it's likely I'll get at least one. I just don't know which one, but I have to be ready for the fact that might not happen.
Who's
so
the trio?
Scarlet's number 4, if that's the case.
Who's the third? I mean, Smoke and Lee May are 1 and 2.
Nightwolf is the third.
Nightwolf.
Yeah, so
I think
technically Sindel is almost the third, but as much as I love Sindel, I would not want to take her to tournament. I like the character a lot, and I love the philosophy behind the character, but that's MK9, and lore-wise, she's just not up there quite. She was my true secondary in MK9, but definitely as a mix of style, design, lore, and just personal affection, those are by far the 3. Smoke, in that order, Smoke, Lee May, and Nightwolf. That's so important to me. But if I don't get any of the 3, it's probably Scarlet's next in line.
I'd be shocked if you don't get Smoke. I mean, I personally think Smoke will be release roster. I've no information on this, but purely on the fact that if this game is about fixing MK9, about changing timelines, so putting it back to essentially the timeline people recognize, one of the biggest aspects of that is turning Smoke from a human or a demon back into a cyborg. And we know Boone prefers Cyber Smoke. So I suspect you'll get Smoke, if not base roster. I think that's
I didn't know this lore.
Somewhere, isn't it? Well,
I personally...
Go on.
Well, I just think it would be so weird to me that they'd want to show off the Unreal 4 engine. I feel like Smoke is the number 1 choice to do that.
He keeps saying this.
I know.
Listen, I grab onto what you can, dude. You're not wrong.
But to be fair, I mean,
you heard me grabbing onto that Takeda bullshit earlier. Like,
I was wrong about that.
It's fine. Yeah. Easy saying that. Like, Scope. Like, don't worry, Smoke's gonna be in the game. Man, Fujin wrecked so many asses that way in MKX. Probably, yeah. See, the same shit. I want Smoke in there just as much as you do, though. Smoke is so sick.
But I mean, I gotta. I mean, like I said, the best part of the reveal trailer was Scarlet. I don't know if people heard of my reaction, but I did that like scared inhale that I usually do when I'm excited.
You did,
yeah, she's a prospect, but she's definitely the last in line. I mean that's yeah.
I didn't like Scarlet at all in MK9. I mean, if you'd asked me before the reveal to name my least favorite Mortal Kombat characters, Scarlet would have been my a bottom 5 character.
Oh, come on.
I really didn't like her at all.
There's some really shitty characters, dude.
Scarlet sucked in MK9. She was half naked. She was red. That was her character.
It's fucking
all
bullshit. The women
I
were
hated
half
fighting
naked.
her. I'll say that. She was I think she's probably the highest execution character in MK9.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And that was kind of why I liked her. I'm like, wow, no one plays like this, but I hated fighting that character so much.
She was sleeper top 10, yeah. She was sleeper top 10.
Speaking of Praetor, I think he had to fight a Scarlet at Texas Showdown. It's been a while, but yeah. So yeah, that's she gives me a glimmer of hope for the roster. And if the rest of the roster is just MKX2, then at least I know I have Scarlet, and that helps a lot.
The weird thing to me, like if Smoke isn't in, is Boone's exact words, and I'm quoting him on this, is that MK11 is about giving players players back their mains from MK9. And if you're really going to say, well, who
He said that?
he said that.
I didn't know he said
And
that. That's actually
yeah,
huge
he
news
said
to me.
that.
I was unaware
I-
of that.
Yeah, well, this is what Razor's been harping on about. That to Razor's eye, this is essentially the game about fixing MK9.
Well,
about
Razor
fixing
says a lot of
X.
things. I want to hear more about what Ed Boon said. When did he say that?
He said that, was it with Angry Joe? It was an interview he did over the.
Oh no!
I
not
saw the
Joe.
Angry Joe reveal.
Maybe it wasn't Joe then.
I saw the interview. I don't remember that. It was a good interview, by the
I'm
way.
not
but I
doubting
definitely
you.
don't-
It's exciting.
He definitely said it. I can't remember where. But to me, if you're taking that design philosophy and it's like, who can we bring back from MK9 people really missed? And even as a Shang fan, as a Noob fan, people miss Smoke more than they miss Noob or Shang.
I don't know if I know that. I think Noob might be a little.
Noob is pretty popular.
Really, really popular.
Noob is popular, but from a main perspective, how many people main Noob?
Oh, no, okay, that's a good point.
I main Noob, and I'll tell you, there was like fucking 5 of us because he sucked dick.
Well-
You're right about that. Smoke has a huge tournament pedigree with
He
Eris,
does.
Waffles, CD Junior. God, there's
Who's
one
this?
more. What's his name? Fuck,
Well,
he
there
was
was
the
this,
original Smoke main. Yeah,
There was this Texas dude who played Smoke as well. He was pretty good.
really? Who? Because I'd be very.
Was it Temp?
Oh.
It was Temp, yeah. I was trying to compliment
Yeah,
Temp.
there
yeah.
it is. I see what you're going for.
I tried.
I was trying to think who it was. Man, I do. Fucking Smoke was so sick. I want Smoke to come back. Cyber Smoke did not give us that. Man.
Yeah, I don't count Triborg as Smoke Cyrax.
I agree.
No, he doesn't count.
Actually,
I'll count him as Cyrax because I'm sick of the sight of Cyrax.
one thing about one more thing I was gonna say about flawless blocks. Fucking, I keep saying this over and over again. It is still fucking hype as hell. First time we're gonna have a Mortal Kombat game that launches with great netcode.
Yes.
No. First time we're gonna have a Mortal Kombat game that launches with competent netcode. Because up till this point, it hasn't even fucking been that. And like flawless blocks would just be the stupidest thing in the world if we were still in old netcode. That's not even a thing.
Although one thing that does worry me about the online is, I think in interviews with Derek, and I think it was with Paolo. Again, don't quote me on that. They refused to say that region lock has been purged, which as a region lock player gives me, fear.
Why?
Well, I'd be surprised. I hear that. But...
there is a reason behind it if you think about it. Well, to me there is, in that MK11 is going to be gory as fuck.
Yes.
Injustice isn't. So it could. Now I'm entirely speculating. It could be something to do with maybe some aspects of MK getting censored somewhere. Maybe being, because I know Germany and Australia are always the two ones that stand out in that regard.
They are.
Just like Cannibal Corpse can't sell albums in either country actually.
Poor Cannibal
So
Corpse.
yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to have people being raped to death with broken bottles on your album cover, that is going to happen.
Well, you're kind of asking for it, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. They have a song called that. They do actually. It's on
I believe you. Yep.
But yeah, so I'm not, obviously I can't say region lock is in, but I'm afraid it's not out. So I'm on the fence on that.
That's fortunate.
I mean, it's a blow up if it's back. We're going to tear them apart if that's the case. Even well, maybe not NetherRealm. I don't think it's their fault, but Warner Brothers for sure.
Which is why I think it'd have to be something to do with gore and censorship, because like there's no region lock in Injustice 2. I can't see why NRS would do it. I could see why WB would be like, fuck you, this has to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Now the team fucking bummed me out now. I don't want that. That's gonna be fucking sad. The fatalities and the gore in this game, to me, is like one of the funniest they've ever been.
Yeah, the gore, to me, like, there was some fatalities in MKX, and I appreciate this sounds kind of cringy, like 4 years later, that still make me shudder. Like Kenshi's one where he rips the spinal system out and then kind of severs it. That makes me feel awkward feelings.
I don't even remember that one.
He like levitates you and then rips your spine out, and you're like a puppet on the nerves hanging.
I'm sure
hanging from your
Cyborg
spine.
had to have done that to me if never, because he didn't beat me. But I don't remember that one. Yeah, I remember the blender. Yeah, like the Frumblefoot says here.
The weird thing is the fatalities in this game are actually, I don't know if you noticed, because obviously it's a small point. They are a step back from MKX, and that MKX had that kind of, wasn't as bad as MK9, but it did have that kind of torture porn thing going on.
Yeah.
This really doesn't. I mean, Garrus's one is a bit drawn out, but aside from that, like Sub-Zero, okay, he rips your spine out while you're, that's a fucked up one. But his other one is,
they're all fucked up. Okay, it's all fucked up.
He freezes you in a block of ice and just cuts your head off. It's quite quick.
The hardest for me is Baraka's, because the texture of the face after it's ripped off bothers me. The pinkiness makes me really uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't. And also there's like this weird like dumb smile. It's gosh, it's gross. I don't like it.
What actually gets me about Baraka is his fatal blow when he impales their hand to the chest. For me, that makes me. I get fucking phantom pain seeing that. I'm like,
It is weird. Like
I can see that.
That's just one of those things that's like, that is not that graphic, but it is effective as hell.
Yeah, it's
like
in the,
shit.
It's like in the reveal trailer when like Raiden's beating Scorpion to death. The thing that still makes me fucking cringe is when he breaks his fingers.
Yeah,
because I know what that feels like. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Speaking of which, listen, I've put fucking all of someone's money on the line for this. The fatal blows. There has to be a finisher done with the fatal blows. Like, I don't see how this game is gonna come out with that not being.
Well, if there was, it wasn't in the build.
No, yeah, it wasn't in the build. I think they're gonna talk about it later. Not brutalities. No.
Well, what do you mean by that? I don't know if I understand.
If you just finish the opponent off with a fatal blow, it would, because that would basically be what Raiden did in the CG trailer. And that's not in the game as we've seen it yet.
So basically, like a fatal blow is like 100% damage.
No. If you just kill the person, your opponent
like
with the fatal blow.
So if the last hit is a fatal blow, it does a special kill animation.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got you now.
That's what I'm saying. Because
I think that bet.
You want to take that bet?
I take that bet. I don't think that'll be in the game.
You don't, dude. See, I don't want to do it because you're probably right and they're dumb. It's gonna go right over their heads because it's so fucking obvious. Like, see, Frumblefoot says it's happening. He's with me. Frumblefoot will take that bet. He'll pinch bet me. Well, doesn't that make sense to you? Like, or am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy, but I mean, for me, I suppose I could see it in terms of the hype. But for me, fatal blows themselves are going to be very hype in tournament. Like, what I'm really looking for is when like both guys have fatal blows in the deciding round of the deciding set, and they're both in footsie range, and it's like one hit kick. That's gonna be fucking. It's basically sudden death. It's like first poke wins. That's gonna be so fucking.
It's like
cool.
thumb wrestling.
Yeah, it's gonna be thumb wrestling. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Because fatal blows are quick recovery, relatively safe on block. I think they're a really good addition. To be fair,
The only thing I would change about them, because I agree, I absolutely agree. I think the armor property is a bit much. I think the fact that they have cooldown, the fact that you get them automatically, armor is a little overkill. I don't think they need to be armored.
If they have armor,
it should be one or the other. What's up?
I won my first ever MK11 game by armoring with a fatal blow. So I'm totally down for it. I mean, they're the only armored move in the game, I think.
I think it should be one or the other. It should either have armor, but it doesn't come back if you waste it, or if it comes back with cooldown, then if you're allowed to use it indefinitely as long as you're under 30%, then I think it should not have armor. But that's me.
That's not a bad point. What I would say is that I think, and if I can kind of put myself in Paolo's shoes for a moment,
oh boy,
MK11 is not going to be particularly casual friendly in the same way, say, Street Fighter isn't particularly casual friendly. The execution for most stuff is lower, but if you want to cause serious damage, you're going to need to know your crushing blows. You're going to need to, and that's leaving amplified moves out. You're going to need to know your
Definitely.
crushing blows. You're going to need to be able to capitalize on your crushing blows.
I've got like a whole section dedicated to that shit. That's
That I think that's the most important mechanic in the game, in my
it,
view. So
that
I think the
it's a
reason
big
for
thing.
having, yeah, I think the reason for having the armor on fatal blows is kind of the same reason that X-rays and supers get armor, is because for casuals, it still has the aspect of a comeback mechanic. And so
Fair enough.
if you can't do like a 40 hit 40% damage combo with Baraka, you can still do his fatal blow. Because and I remember playing a good friend of mine in the Irish scenes, Steve, one man, three letters. Uh, he's a huge Baraka fan. Like he went fucking ape shit when Baraka got revealed. But I remember playing him with Baraka, and we figured out that basically all of Baraka's crushing blows, are punishes, and you can chain them. So you could chain Baraka's
Oh
one
yeah,
two
okay.
two and his forward four. You could chain his 1-2-2 into his gutted special. Now that wasn't at the build, but we figured that out later talking to Ketchup. His 1-2-2 into his gutted special into a forward four. You could chain all of that off one punish
That's
for
crazy.
for 1 bar of meter, and it would do about 60% damage.
Yeah, that's the
Baraka-
fucking dirty shit.
Yeah,
But is that's the right now it seems obvious like that. Okay, that's where the
yeah.
high level shit's gonna come from. Stacking crushing blows.
And to be
gonna
fair,
be-
you can only do that once. I should say you can only do crushing
Yeah.
blow once a game. Yeah, just for
You can only do them once a game, and like you have to like obviously hit that option. It's an option with your control things, right?
you can turn on you can turn on the option to like hold down the input and have that on. I imagine that'll probably be de rigueur in tournament.
Well, I mean,
so
but there's also one that's like an auto crushing blow. Like it just does it if you have it enabled.
Yeah, so let's say D2. There's a universal crushing blow in the D2, in that if you hit D2 as a counter hit or a punish, crushing blows and you can combo off. So let's say, for instance, I have the hold turned off. The first D2 I hit, that's a counter hit or a punish, will crushing blow.
Yes.
If I have it turned on, I have to hold down to make a crushing blow. Even if it's a counter hit or a punish, if I don't hold down D2, it won't go off. So I could use I could hold it and use the D2 when you have like 30% life left,
Right,
and I can
yeah.
finish it. So there's the meta in there.
It's gonna make
I like
such a
this. That's my
huge
preference.
difference. That's so interesting. That's gonna be a fucking shit ton of fun.
What were you saying, Temp?
No, that's my preference. I like that better because I for one am going to try to hoard all my counter blows if I can.
Absolutely.
Or my crushing blows. I'm going to
I think
try
that
to sit on those.
that may mean essentially forfeiting a round, if the other character isn't, but it would give you the advantage in the later game.
Yeah, it fucking fuck that round, dude. Fucking later in the match, fucking empty the clip of crushing blows at the other dude.
But
Just
equally,
fucking
I mean,
everywhere.
let's say Temp is maining Baraka, because I think Baraka, knowing how Temp plays,
Well, we
Baraka
heard
has
his flag variation theory.
Yeah, he's a lot of footsies.
Mhm.
A lot of footsies. And so let's say you're playing Baraka and you hoard all your crushing blows for the last two rounds, and I'm playing Scarlet. I know what you're going for. I know you need to punish me, so I just have to play very, very safe. You can't even if you get in on me, unless you punish me, you can't hit me for huge damage. You know.
I'm okay with that though. I think I'd be all right with that because my idea is that I don't want to lose my crushing blows and then drop the first round. And now you don't have to respect anything anymore. That's
Yeah,
more what I'm
dude,
worried
that's-
about. I want the threat of that. I think that's more powerful almost than the crushing
Absolutely.
What would make crushing blows really interesting to me is if and I'm not advocating for this, but if MK11 had one life bar, like that would have made crushing blows probably less interesting because it wouldn't really matter when you did it.
blow.
But I think it would be maybe more in keeping with the spirit of the game.
It's something that I love so much. And it's just another reason why I'm so excited for this game. Fucking just the mind games. Like, I've got this fucking crushing blow loaded. When am I going to use it? When am I going to use it? You don't. Just the threat. It's like a fun metagame. There was a little bit of that in MKX with brutalities. Like, I know what you're going for. I see what you're doing over there, trying to get the fucking brutal. But that makes the salt so much sweeter when you do get it and they couldn't stop you and they knew it was coming. It's going to be so fucking sick.
This ties into probably one of my favorite points about MK11. and that's the no. That's the absence of block breakers. There are
Yeah,
still
No
air
breakers.
The first time I saw there's no block breakers, I could almost hear Temp screaming in
Yeah.
joy from across the Atlantic.
I
I'm a
yelled.
huge fan of it. Yeah, I think it's great. It's very bold. Like, and this is something this is the word I would always thus far use to describe the design of MK11. It's incredibly bold. It's incredibly brave. Because if you'd asked me would they take out combo breakers, I'd have said, fuck, combo breakers have been instance deception. It's a core part of the gameplay at this stage. It's almost 20 years they've been in this franchise. But they looked at the entire system and they said, fuck it, we can take out combo breakers. And I'm not sure if they said, we're going to revamp meter and then take out combo breakers, or if they said, we're taking out combo breakers and later went to revamp meter. But it's a huge change, and I think it's a really, really positive. It's a necessary one as well, because I will say, with the pace of the game, with the footsies, with the potential for zoning, if you had combo breakers in there, it would probably be slightly unfair on the rushdown freaks. But because you have no combo breaker, like Tempu always say, your argument against combo breakers was if you get your setup, you've earned the fucking damage, you deserve it.
At the
In
very
this
least,
game-
don't put me at disadvantage. Don't take away my
Yeah.
stamina. Yes,
Exactly,
but yeah,
yeah,
that is
yeah.
absolutely my position for sure.
And they basically listened to you, because in this game, I remember I was playing Steve, the Baraka player, and I was zoning him out really nicely with Scarlet. I was really happy. And he got in, and when he got in fucking hard. He got in for like 50% damage. And that was me fucked. Because I had no combo breaker. So it really heightens the tension. Because say MKX had this meta, and say I'm zoning, I'm playing footsies. Even if you get in, I can put you on the other side of the fucking screen. It's not a big deal. Because I'm building meter with my zoning, and I don't really need my meter. But in this game, if I'm zoning, I'm playing footsies, I have to be extra careful, because if you get in, you can ruin my fucking day.
And that's that's why I love it, because to me, in my opinion, the air tech is not really the air tech's kind of a mirage, because if you're getting comboed, you're thinking, fuck, I'm taking damage, I need to air tech. What you're doing is you're basically grounding yourself. You basically get splatted, and then you give up both your defensive bars. So you're grounding yourself with
You can't wake
no
up.
meter.
That does give you a hit of armor, doesn't it, on the way down?
It does, but I have full access to my arsenal of Okazemi. So it's like, what's worse? Do I want to take 12% damage, or do I want to be grounded with no wake-up options at the mercy of any mix-up Temp wants to do? That's what I'm thinking. The only reason I would... Well, yeah, what's up?
I was just going to interject and say I have full access to my arsenal of Okizemi. One of the weebest things I have ever heard in my life.
Listen, dude, you do not have a God-given right to get off the ground. Fucking Tom Brady was right.
But
It's true. And that's just
I
another
had no
really
idea
cool
what
thing.
wake-ups were. Yeah, I fully agree. I had no idea what wake-ups were in this game when I was playing it. And I kept getting fucking blown up trying to wake up special. And I was like, my execution is not this piss poor. But I fully agree. I don't foresee air escapes being a huge thing, because they use all of your meter. So like in Injustice, you've got multiple bars of meter. You can air escape, not the end of the world. In this game,
It's still a trick in Injustice, though. It's like, man, just don't do it. I've done this so many times. You're flipping out. It's like, oh, you want to flip out? I'll fucking catch you on the way down, motherfucker. Like, it's
my favorite.
just don't
the
do
best
it.
Best thing playing Superman is after you do a 4-2-3,
Oh, no.
and somebody air flips out, the next 4-2-3 still hits him.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm just like,
I know.
But to me, the only time I am, at least early on, this may change, but the only time I am ever going to do an air tech is if they have a loaded crushing blow, and I think I might die.
Yeah.
That's the only time I'm ever going to.
I think that's the only time it makes sense to do it.
Yeah.
What's up?
I think that's the only time it makes sense to do it, because otherwise, like, because defensive meter regenerates, I think a bit quicker than offensive meter, but it's not quick by any means. I don't think you want to be in a position where you don't have any defensive meter.
Yeah, this is why I don't want them to change the game. Like, I'm afraid
No,
we got our feedback. Yeah.
I really want the game to say as it is. The only thing I could see them changing, and I wouldn't say I hope they change, but I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense, is the amplified inputs.
Yeah, that's the big thing in the middle there.
And I kind of, like, the conspiracy theorist in me says that they thought, look, we're changing the entire thing we need to show we're listening to like the fans who want MKX again. Why don't we put in something that we know isn't going to stick, that we know will just change back? But I mean, that's probably too much work for them. That's just me being a incredibly
Well, I mean,
paranoid.
Playing a long game.
they've said
Yeah,
some
very long
stuff
game.
about that.
I think they will change it. I do think they'll change it back. I mean, at the very least, I think there'll be options in the game that you can say, I want the block button, or I want the directional inputs. I've no preference either way. I'd actually like the direction inputs, if only because it would really force you to fucking main a character. Like, particularly with crushing blows and everything being kind of situational in this game, you would need to be you would really struggle, I think, to get multiple characters going in the first few months of the game. And I think that's kind of cool because that's a new kind of dynamic for NRS games.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, for people like me, it's like perfect for people like me because I've played Sub-Zero since Mortal Kombat 1. MKX was the first time that Sub-Zero wasn't my main. I can't help it. I'm a character loyalist. I'm going to be playing Sub-Zero, so I don't have to remember all this other bullshit because I'm not someone who's going to be switching my character all the time. But for me, at the end of the day, like, I come down on the side of, like, there's already so many barriers to entry for casuals and new players to get into fighting games in general. And I just don't.
I think it'll be changed.
I don't want to like stack the deck any more than it already is, just for something like that isn't actually like isn't necessary. It's not necessary. It's not about execution as much as it is just memorization. And Tim talked about it too. If there was something like a pro moves type situation or whatever, something that was more execution based, my personal preference would be for it to be a something that's on top of EX moves or amplified moves or whatever. Like, don't take that away, because that is such a fundamental part of the game, and it's a fundamental part of like NRS games for the past several games that they've done. EX moves are huge. They're a fundamental thing. Don't put that behind a execution wall, especially in this case, just for, I don't know why. Like, it's kind of arbitrary. Leave that the way it is, and then put something else up there for execution people, for people that want to like go the extra, the extra whatever, and do something cool. It's like big risk, big reward, whatever, if you can pull it off. But casual people can still do EX moves without struggling too much. But
well, see,
that's my stance on it.
There's a slightly immersive element to it that I like, in that, like, it makes sense from an immersion perspective that if you want to keep Baraka's Chop Chop going, you fucking mash the button that started the Chop Chop. If you want Scorpion to launch off a teleport, you press up. You know?
Yeah, I can see that. And it wouldn't be as much with the immersion, I guess, if you're like, if you're mashing the EX button or whatever it normally is, and is it block? It's just block, isn't it? To do EX moves and like MKX and whatnot. Yeah. I just muscle memory. My brain doesn't know what's going on when I play those games. So you could just mash, block, and do the same thing, sorta, but it's not exactly the same thing as what you're talking about. No, I can see that.
For me personally, and you covered a lot of it, but I don't feel like the pendulum swings enough in either direction. I feel like if you're going to make me do a unique input, you got to give me a better incentive than just the regular meter burn. But if you do give me a bigger incentive, then you need to make the execution higher than just a memorization barrier. So it's not really... I mean, I don't care for it, but at worst, it's an inconvenience. If I have to learn them, I'll learn them. But so I'm not too bent over it. I'm not against pro moves, but right now it just it just feels arbitrary. I don't hate it, but I just feel like it's making me do needless amounts of work. But it's not the worst kind of labor either. It's not like they're making me memorize gaps to armor through. Like, that's a labor of hate. Like, this is just like, fine, I'll go into the fucking menus. I'll get over it. But I just think it's arbitrary. I don't love it, but it's not so like... I'm scared if I ask them to change anything, they're going to change something else that I love. That's why I'm terrified of asking them to change it.
Because what you kind of kicked the episode off with by saying is you hope they don't change the dash, and I fully agree. I really hope that the neutral and the movement stays the same, and people just have to fucking learn and adapt to it. So if if the price is we're going to change the amplifier, the EX or whatever input back to just block, I'm cool with that as long as we keep the meta exactly where it is. And if it needs to be changed in 6 months, it needs to be changed in 6 months. But let's at least until Evo, let's just fucking roll with it.
Yeah, I mean it's not gonna hurt anyone. It's gonna borrow some of our time. Which is, I mean, I can see why that'd be a problem if you use multiple characters. So like maybe someone like Forever King is gonna be penalized for this, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Forever King has to use a character, just one character. Oh, that poor soul.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be really funny for the usual, like, counter pickers and tier people. Like, I can't even. It's just like this does not affect me that much because I'm just fucking so much of a character loyalist. It's ridiculous. I'm just thinking like my opinions as far as like casual players go, but man, no. Since counter picking and playing tiers and whatnot does seem very, very, very prominent in NRS games in tournaments.
Yeah, and if this is a methodology of counteracting that, I'm entirely on board. Counter picking is it's a necessary part of fighting games, but it's one of my least favorite parts. I like the idea of everyone having their character and repping your character at the tournament. I like that.
I agree. There's definitely that's the trouble. There's good and bad parts of both ways. I can definitely see both sides, and I'm glad that I don't have to pick because I don't know what I would actually end up with.
I mean, I wouldn't. The real detriment of counterpicking is when there's a hidden select tournament match and the character you pick 7-3 is the other. So even if the other person counters your counterpick at the first match, then you can always be recounterpicked. So it's like from the very get go, you're kind of at a disadvantage, which is not wrong. It's not immoral, but I just feel like it's not hype. I feel like when you make the neutral better, you automatically reduce counterpicking. And so this is the best solution. Just make the neutral stronger and make the mechanics favor everyone universally, and you'll win. That was the problem with NRS games before, is the mechanics favored very specific groups, and even Injustice this was the case. So when you make the neutral stronger, you don't make one style overpower another. So I feel like the solution's already there, but
well, see, you say that, Kemp, but I mean, you played a character that 9-1. So as far as I'm concerned, you're a lying piece of shit.
Oh, you clipped out, but I got the lying piece of shit part.
So I got the important part.
Who did I play? Who did I play, and who did they 9-1?
Smoke 9-1 to noob.
Oh, I'll get bodied.
Oh, yeah.
That was a. You'll never appreciate like
I would
picking
definitely,
and then just hearing Smoke being picked, and it's like, oh fuck.
If someone were to ask me if you made any changes to MK9 Smoke, what would you do, Temp? There's 3 things I would change. One is I would go ahead and I would give him a damage reduction just overall. 2, I would fix the reset, and B, I would probably reduce the damage on his parry. I think he got way too much for just for anti-zoning. What I may do is I may just get rid of. I haven't decided on this, and not that it matters anyway, because no one play this game again. But I feel like if the parry that only the EX parry anti-zoned or was just countered anything, and the regular parry just maybe gave him like a meter boost or something like that. I don't know. I haven't decided.
I that's the more reason.
I was convinced that one of the things you would change would have been a pop-up that says, "Hey, this attack is a projectile. Shake you more."
Yeah, that's a temp buff more than it's a smoke buff. I still lose sleep losing to Phil Pops because I didn't know I could parry the fucking clone. Because Nightwolf couldn't. Nightwolf couldn't deflect it, so it just made sense. God, let's talk about other things. Anyway, yes, I'm so glad breakers are gone. That is such a plus to me.
Oh man,
I'm glad that resources no longer affect my mobility. That is such a big change. And
well, I mean, you do need defensive meter to use background interactables.
That's fair. Yeah.
So if you're jumping off shit,
how much does that cost? 1 bar.
That's 1 bar defensive. But they're much more effective in this game because the overall pace is slowed.
And well, 1 bar defensive and 1 bar if you armor it. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, 1 bar.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man,
and just to clear up something that Razor said in the last in the last Nethercast gone, the dirty mattress in the Black Dragon arena does not give you chip damage. I think that was a joke.
I have not heard that episode yet. I unfortunately
I heard that.
So.
Was that something Derek was saying?
I think 16-bit made that joke.
Was it 16-bit? I bet everybody's made that joke. But
I think
yeah,
it was Bit. Someone made the joke, yeah. But
you're right.
The dirty mattress that's seen its fair share of brutal romantic conquests does not give you chip damage.
I made a tweet about the interactable mattress and no one liked it. So
hold on, I'll open the TYM Twitter and I'll go like it.
Thank you, sir. Super appreciated.
Man,
my little heart sign. That's what I live for.
No, listen. I agree about the breakers, though. I'm sitting over here thinking about breakers being gone. There's so many little band-aids that have been added to MK over the past several years, like armor as well, and it's just really nice that they're just like, you know what, fuck all these band-aids everywhere. Back when we were doing, whenever I was working with some guys to remake some game, one of the versions that we were working on, I did the programming for. It was the first one we did, I think. The prototype of whatever this game was, the first one, I did the prototype for it, and because I'm having to like remake this shit. I'm spending more time on some video game part 1 than I've ever spent playing that game ever. And I don't really want to go and play that game 1 because it's not the most fun game in the world, but I learned a fucking bunch about it even though I didn't want to. And man, the fucking stagger breakers in that game, and I know that wasn't the only game that those were in, but I was just like, can we not do this? This is so stupid. The thing, like, I'm trying to remember what it is now. You like hit the other guy like 5-6 times. I forgot the number, and you just stagger backwards like you got hit to break up the combo there. Or if you try doing that in the corner with the juggle, you'll do the same thing too. You'll stagger backwards. And in KM1, it was such a stupid thing, but it was a band-aid, and they've been putting these fucking band-aids on shit since the beginning. It's like, why are you doing that? There's so many other ways you could do this. Whoever programmed these games back in 1992, what were you thinking?
Yeah, Ed, you fucking bitch.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't.
Sorry, I'm just hypothetically, if the guy's name was Ed, it was
I don't know any Ed, but if their name was Ed, it's like, sir, have you played a fighting game before?
Well, to be fair, I don't think if this hypothetical game was developed in 1992, hypothetically, I don't think there was many fighting games before that. To be fair, but also to be fair. This was the stupidest decision anyone could have ever made. There's a billion other things you could have put right here than this fucking random stagger backwards. But that is also like kind of part of the whole whatever this franchise's charm. Like that happened in this franchise part 4 with maximum damage and everybody just like knocking on their ass and falling backwards. Like I get it. It's dopey. It's loud and stupid, but it's also stupid. But to me, those band-aids that have been there forever, armor and breakers, were also kind of that. And I'm glad that I'm really looking forward to seeing a version of this franchise, whatever this was, that we're talking about now. Fuck, you know what I'm talking about, without those breakers. Yeah, band-aids that have been around for so long. Like it's kind of like a fresh start on things. Like, wait a minute. Maybe we don't need all these band-aids that we've used over and over again. Exactly. Sorry. It's built up from the beginning, and you can really tell that they went to the core of what this hypothetical franchise hypothetically went to the core of their games and rebuilt it and said, "What there's a quote I'm quite fond of, that something is perfect not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away." And that's essentially what they've done here. You could add some more shit in there. You could add breakers. You could add this and that. do you need it? And that's why this game feels so. It feels stripped down, but it feels so good, frankly. And I mean, if we talk about band-aids, like for me, the biggest band-aid in the history of fighting games was the player one advantage in MK9. Like
That was
that
bad.
was that was offensive. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
Oh no.
It was fucking awful. As a At a fundamental level, even I've never designed a game, I never will design a game, but I know that this is an awful idea to give player one an arbitrary advantage instead of just, exchanging. I don't know why they did that.
It was hardwired into the programming, so they couldn't fix it. It was
They
permanent.
couldn't fix it. No, yeah. I don't know why it boggles the mind. Like, we made a competitive fighting game as a community out of that fucking game. It's extraordinary sometimes.
Yeah, that's the biggest compliment I can give to MK9 is that I love the game despite all its horrible, crippling problems. I think that's the miracle of MK9 is it was so good that we forgave all its horrible, horrible, atrocious, design problems.
Yeah, that game is riddled with flaws. Like, if you go back to it now, I can't go back to MKX, obviously, but I can't go back to MK9 because I'm looking at it now, 8 years older, and I'm like, Jesus fuck. 16-year-old me thought this was a really good fighting game. What the fuck
You
is
were
wrong with me?
16? Oh my god. I didn't
Yeah, I was.
I didn't need to know that.
MK9 came out through 4 months before my 17th birthday.
How old was I when MK9 came out? 2011? Oh fuck, I don't know. I can't do numbers right now. I don't know. It's fine. I don't want to know anyway. I was messing around with the Mortal Kombat 9 the other day. I got the PC version.
You say that I was gonna get the Steam version. Does the Steam version hold up? Because it was £5, and I've got a fancy new laptop for running
You
Civ
know?
6, and I think it could run it.
I actually really want to do some A/B comparisons because I'm a nerd. I fired it up and I was like, I was detecting some differences. I don't think the PC version is arcade perfect, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think it's that far off. Tim's played it. Tim, did you detect anything? I thought walk speeds were a little too high. That's something that jumped out to me. It's like, were walk speeds really this high in MK9?
I didn't notice any gameplay differences. The only thing I noticed is the loading times are almost non-existent. It's almost awkward because you don't even have time to really see the characters until it goes into the match. The other thing I noticed was the game looks substantially better maxed out on PC. It's amazing how much better the game looks. Like I was blown away.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. Man, I don't know. I gotta fire up my Xbox 360 sometime. Dig that out wherever it is. It's because that walk speed thing is just breaks my brain. I guess I could maybe watch a YouTube video of it. I don't know. It just seems really, really fast in the PC version.
There is something I wanted to bring up that I feel like has been very under-discussed. Probably the most under-discussed thing for MK11.
Oh, we're not talking about the PC version of MK9 anymore?
Well, we could. There's under-discussed things about that as well. There are hair physics. No, I was going to say the one thing no one's really been talking about is the double meter burn. After you meter burn something for extra damage, you can meter burn again. That is really interesting to me, and that adds you can do it on block as well, and this has kind of been like a Baraka staple if you watch the exhibition matches.
It has.
It's a very interesting addition. I like that a lot because it makes
an entertaining addition too. I think it's fun to watch.
I'm gonna hate trying to punish that move, so yeah. I don't know. I hope we see way more of that.
I don't know. I think
I want to see some of the other characters, what they've got in that shit. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I think the meta, well, certainly my perspective of the meta being a kind of a more defensive player would be that you always want to keep 1 bar of meter. But yeah, you could certainly double. Like, it's one of the things that makes me wonder how effective Garrus will be. Most of his best specials by themselves require a bar of meter.
I mean, the character is such a big factor here. Garrus is a good example. In MK9, one thing I loved about playing Reptile was I was very meter independent. My bread and butter, I would often go into the EX nimble status or state, and I would do 6 slides. A lot of people thought I was doing that just to be a dick, and I was, but I was also doing it because by doing that, I get most of my bar back. So it's like a combo that only costs a quarter of a bar. It's brilliant. And all his mix-ups are you can make a lot of his mix-ups relatively safe and his pressure very safe without having to spend a dime. So if I have a character who is fairly meter independent, I want to go ham. I want to fucking meter burn everything. And I like that diversity. So I don't know. I think it's something definitely worth talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask you guys your opinions on the change to the meter system.
I like it.
Because
Temp, you go first.
I have voiced my opinion ad nauseum about my meter woes in Injustice 2. And how the meter system just fucked Robin so hard. So hard.
Fucked.
It's ooh, man. The best way for him to build meter in that game is to get smacked in the face. It's retarded. It's fucking so. The whole game, like, that came down to like this one aspect of the video game is what fucking is. You could just change this a little bit and change everything. Fucking the way the meter worked in that game is fucking stupid, and they tweaked it like there at the end, one of the last patches. But fuck it, whatever. No, it was still jank as hell. So when I saw that they had gone to a cooldown system, first I was a little butthurt because the me and the iBallistic guys also have a cooldown system for our meter for the same reason I'm talking about right now, because the Injustice one fucked me so hard. So when I saw that they're doing a cooldown meter, it's like, oh, I did not see that coming. Like, you guys would make that choice. But I like it, obviously. I'm glad they did, because I was more than over their approach to meter before. But, I mean, obviously, I'm really biased here because of Injustice 2. So, like, I wanted to ask you guys how you guys felt about cooldown rather than, like, earning meter the stupid ways.
Well, what's the biggest complaint about Injustice 2? Even if it's not, 100% valid, it's that, walking back.
Not strong enough.
That would be an easy number 2. No, it won't. No. That's like number never, Evan.
I'm sorry, 4, 2, 3 should have been stronger. Sorry.
It was walking backwards, though. Everyone was like, I am so tired of having to play cat and mouse as my opponent walks backwards, I mean, this time, if you choose to walk backwards in zone, okay, fine, but you're giving your opponent meter by doing that, and that's a change. I would have killed for something like this when I was playing against Ivy's trait, because when Ivy's trait comes out, you basically unplug your controller and wait, or you die. One of those two things has to happen.
Oh, you fly? I could fly.
Yeah, flying helps. I could fly too.
Did you play?
I played Beetle, but I mainly but I split my time between Beetle and.
What the fuck were they thinking with Robin in this game? Like,
fuck him. I think
really, like, just
him.
Just give him a gun, if nothing else. Like,
you can only make Damien so cool, okay? You can't give him too much.
I do think Injustice is the coolest Damien has ever been.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Easily, yeah. I like the Injustice universe version of Damien. Actually, a fair amount. It's weird. It's weird. It makes me feel weird for liking Damien. God damn it! Who would have thought NRS would have made me like Damien? It's kind of fucked up. Anyway,
I just like to encourage people to play the game. That's the problem with Injustice. Is it rewarded a lot of past. Okay, this is not the problem with Injustice because A, how much of a problem it was is sort of debatable. But B, I think it's its own meta. There's a place for that too. But I'm not going to get into the negatives just yet. But I will say my problem.
Bless you, Shred. You're a brave man.
I don't have a problem section on my Google Doc, but I do have a worry section, and one of them is that they're going to create a zoning variation for every character. And I think if you want zoning done right in your game, you need maybe 2, maybe 3 premier zoners, and they can't all be the same type of zoner. You got to have your mid-range zoner, your long-range zoner, and like your trap character, right? So I feel like zoning done right means you have to isolate it to 1 or 2 characters, or you'll never be able to balance it because you're basically, if everyone has a zoning variation, it's either going to be broke or trash. I don't think there's a way to At least within matchups. They may not be broken in 8% of the matchups, but they'll fucking destroy someone else. That is Clone in a nutshell, in my opinion. Clone was not broke in the full context of MKX, but there are some characters who just could not do anything about it. So I feel yeah.
We can talk about that when we get to if we're doing this by positives. I love the way we're like an hour and a half in and we still don't know what the structure is.
The structure is just MK11. It's all of it.
Well, I kind of phantom structured because basically every point I bring is I'm basically just going down a list of my positives.
Well, we can deal with that when we get to the worries or the worry section. From my experience of playing the game, I can maybe allay some of those fears. I think you could make a zoning variation of every character. I don't think you would want to. So Sub-Zero, for instance, his zoning aspects were the Death Sickle Barrage, which is an incredibly edgelord name, and the Frigid Storm, which is my nickname for my ex-girlfriend.
Man, so many bummer potholes tonight. Robin, ex-girlfriends. I feel you, man. Wait a minute, which move are you talking about?
So the Death Sickle Barrage is when he spins back and does like a few icicles shoot out from his hand.
Oh yeah,
that's about half screen. Frigid Storm is where he like waves his hands and he sends this big wall of ice towards you, and that's full screen.
That's what that's called. Okay.
Yeah, but that has a motherfucker of startup. That has a lot of startup.
I also think that move looks not great. It makes me miss the shield because I was hoping the shield would be. It would start as a parry and then you can meter burn it into cold shoulder, and that is so far from what they actually did. But whatever, I'll live.
But yeah, so I don't think every character will have a zoning variation. I wouldn't worry about that at the outset. I do think if say you're a Sub-Zero loyalist, but you're also a zoner, I mean, you would have been fucked in previous games, but however.
Mm-hmm. Yes, go on.
Or you want like a zoning variation, you could do it, but your zoning will never be as strong as Scarlet's zone, Baraka's zone. That makes sense.
I'm fine with that, and you know, I did not play Crownmancer because he was good, so I'm okay playing like a style of my preference within like a mid tier range, you know, and I think zoning, the idea that every game has to have viable zoners is just it's kind of fallacious in nature. You can because obviously games can lean, every fighting game ever made leans more or less towards one style or another, and that's okay. I've never seen a fighting game that had equal zoning to its offensive capabilities. So I'm fine if if every character can kind of take on a hybrid of some sort. But I mean, is this a good time to start talking about variations and how we think they're going to work? Do y'all want to start going into that now?
We can.
Yeah, cool.
Are we good on the reels, Django?
We are. Yes, we are. That's all the information you get. Evan, did you take care of the thing that you posted into the chat? I was worried.
That's very yes. That's taken care of.
Okay, good. Okay, variations. Tim, tell me about variations.
Well, what's funny is I was watching some Ultra David videos, and he said that every person he talked to at the venue gave him a different answer on how tournament variations were going to be handled. The Game Informer answer is 3 variations, possibly more, for the tournament guys and custom for everyone else. But other people were saying that there could be more variation, or maybe 1, but they may add like 4 later. I'm hoping, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I do hope to give us an option to use custom variations for tournament players. And either A, just let us, give us a menu and I just pick my 5 special moves at the select screen. It'll take like 8 seconds. Or possibly associate a macro with every variation type, It's like if you want to use, Frosty Cup Holder variation for Sub-Zero, you type in, 1, 2, 1, 3. And that'll automatically populate the variation for you. I think, or maybe at the very least do that for gear, because I really don't want random gear in tournaments. But I think that'd be an easy solution. It sounds like they're leaning towards just giving us 3 variations for tournament guys, and then everyone else gets to have fun with customs. And I don't. The reason why I don't want that is because Ed Boon said in the Game Informer interview that there will be no non-tournament abilities. All the abilities will be properly distributed in the 3 variations for the tournament. there's not going to be any non-competitive abilities that we won't have access to. So if we're doing that anyway, we still have to lab the shit.
I have never heard that.
Yes, that is. Well, now granted, Ed Boon has said things in the past that did not come to fruition. It's not uncommon.
Oh yes,
it's
he
not
has.
common by any means, but it's happened. It's a definite viable possibility. But
I hope
if
so.
we're going to, I just think if we're going to have to train against, if we're going to lab these moves anyway, then just let me customize my variation. Just let me make my own Sub-Zero, right?
Well, my understanding of how it works is, I guess, a hybrid of the two options presented. In that, I think we'll get so say we get the game. Well, we are getting the game in about 3 months. Say Scorpion has 3 variations. That doesn't mean every character is going to have 3 variations. So Scarlet could have 2, Sonya could have 4. I mean, no one's going to have more than Scorpion. Let's be realistic about this. But and the way it'll work is every move, because all the moves are unlocked by default. You don't have to unlock any moves. All the moves will be represented in that there will be a variation containing each one of the moves. And from what I've been told, NRS are open to releasing more moves for characters and to incorporating new variations in characters. So so it doesn't rule out the possibility that let's say I have a variation containing moves A, B, and C, and a variation containing the moves D, E, F.
Okay.
It doesn't rule out the possibility that there will be a subsequent variation released or developed by NRS for tournament mode that has the moves A, D, C, but not the other moves. So did you see the kind of, I appreciate that's probably not very clear. But
well, I can recap because I think I'm following you. So basically you're saying that two of the third variation could be a combination of the first 2 variations?
Oh yeah, so if we take a character that has 6 moves, right?
Okay.
Then he has 2 variations, and we're saying there's only 3 abilities per variation. If he has 3 abilities in one and 3 abilities in the and he has those 2 variations at launch, there's nothing stopping NRS from saying, well, in the tournament mode, a lot of people are asking for a variation that has moves A, C, and D, but not moves B, E, and F. So we can create another variation, a third variation, and put those moves in, and then that'll be selectable in tournament mode. I think
they've said that too. They said that Paulo. I think someone asked Paulo, and Paulo said that one character may have 5 variations if we're able to.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm getting it from. No, don't get me wrong. I'd much prefer the custom variations idea. I don't see why you would go through the effort of having custom variations and not putting it in tournament mode that way.
The only reason I can think of is they're scared it's going to take too long for tournaments for people to make their variation. But if you let us do it at the select screen, or if you create a number macro, I feel like it solves itself, right?
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I mean, having a drop down menu it would take 5 seconds. 5 seconds max. And it's not even like we're going to be picking, say, 10 moves here. Like the way it works, I'm not sure if this has been this has been explained anywhere. The way it works is you have like a set value. So you have 3 slots, but some special moves, some abilities take up 2, some take up 3. Like the Arctic Trap takes up 2. So if I pick Arctic Trap, then I can only pick one other ability to add on to Sub-Zero. So the max you'll be selecting is 3, and I would imagine that it wouldn't be unusual to be selecting only 2, but it wouldn't take more than 5 seconds.
And at least for the first match, you're going to go into the tournament knowing already which ones you're going to pick. So you're talking about less than a second per selection. So exactly. It's like, I don't know. I think what's stopping them is they're like, we hear you guys. Trust me, we've thought about this, but we don't want to program that interface yet. We've already finished all our interfacing on the select screen, and we don't want to go back and do surgery on that, at least in terms of coding. That's the only thing I can think of.
But that makes me think then that they... I'm not discounting that as a possibility, but what that makes me think is that they went through all of this. They went through the custom variations. They had essentially built. And then they said, oh, fuck, what are we going to do about custom variations in a tournament setting? And I think that the competitive aspect is sufficiently ingrained in NRS at this stage that wouldn't happen. Like, I can't see 16-bit and Paolo being on a design team and not saying, well, what are we going to do about the tournament variation? like the tournament crowd. I cannot see that happen.
Well, it's actually funny because Alter David said, and I'm paraphrasing here. So, Alter David, if you ever listen to Warrior Shrine, I apologize in advance, but he said, like, what are you doing about tournament variations? And he said, oh, well, we're going to do probably 3 standard ones for now. And Alter David said, okay, but I talked to another developer over there, and they gave me a completely different answer and said this. And the other guy paused and was like, well, he told you more than I would have told you. And I thought that was funny. So I think, I don't know if it's really an issue of they haven't decided. I think it was more an issue that at least in the LA event, no one really knew what they were allowed to talk about. So I don't know, man. It's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, there wasn't the kind of NRS representation at the London event. I know Cyborg had his, was it John, was that guy's name? Cyborg's man crush from the LA event. Who was very good to them with the answers he gave. There was none of that.
John, indeed. I think that was the guy who was at the demo booth. Yes.
Yeah. There was none of that kind of stuff at the London event. We had hypers, I guess, who were there in like MK11 shirts because the London event was in a nightclub, and so they were trying to they were starting dances, and it was weird, and no one else was dancing because we were playing fucking MK11, but. So I don't have that kind of testimony from an NRS employee. I have the interviews I've read, and I suppose what I've heard from pro players I know who are much more connected than I am, who have told me it's likely to be the way I laid out.
I think. Well, I don't. I think that's just as likely, though. I think I'm hoping whatever it is that it's still they're capable of changing it, even if it's something good. That's my number one hope because that's kind of the problem with revealing a game this late is you get the feedback a little too far after the fact. Maybe I don't know. But I personally, well, here's a question: do you think the game will be more balanced if they do 3 variations?
Ooh,
I don't know either. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like 3 variations like de rigueur that every character gets 3 variations called by water.
Do you think it'll make for a better meta if they do that, or do you think it'll be too crazy if they have custom variation for everyone?
I mean, I suppose it would make for a more digestible meta. It'd be a meta we could quickly come to grips with, to terms with, and there'd be no kind of undue surprises. But equally, I don't think it's unreasonable to say, well, we're going to, as a community, we are quickly going to highlight which are the most viable moves competitively for each character. It's like in MKX. There was very few characters in MKX who had more than one variation you really needed to give a shit about.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe the first few months, like up to Evo, it would be a little fucking crazy with people pulling shit out we'd never seen before. But I would find it very hard to believe that after 6 months we wouldn't essentially know what to expect when playing every character, that we wouldn't have triangulated the optimal way of playing each character. So I don't think it'd make a huge difference to the meta in the long term.
I think other communities do it, so I don't think it'll ever be a problem. I mean, the Marvel 3 guys, they can't learn everything before they go to their first major. I think the game will develop slower if we have completely open custom variations, but I'm okay with that. I mean, nothing. I think with a way, this is the main reason I'm okay with this, because the neutral is so empowering in this game. I can't see them putting in a move that is just going to shut down the other players' options. Not yet. I haven't seen anything like that. But right now, I think the way they've handled mobility and the way they've handled offense, I think it'd be okay just to open up the court, because there's nothing they're going to make that's going to be so crazy that it's going to go against the philosophy of the game. And if it does, you know what? That's okay, because they did it with Marvel 3 and it was fine, you know?
Well, I mean, you say they haven't done anything like that yet. They haven't done DLC yet. And that's usually where they fuck up their own meta. So whoever the first combat pack is, the first 6 characters will all be top 10. But I don't necessarily disagree. My problem with the tournament aspect of custom variations is custom variations are great and they're incredibly fun. They've really listened to the community with regards to Injustice's customization. And it would seem such a waste to not have that properly represented in tournament. And
Well,
I
I
think,
mean, yeah.
and I was just gonna to finish that by saying I'm pretty sure they're doing random gear in tournament mode as well. Like in Injustice 2, we got random gear, which is helped by the fact that the gear looks a lot better in this game. And it would be so weird if they were so good on the cosmetic side of it and so bad on the substance side of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's gonna suck if because I'm not if they're not tournament viable. I'm not gonna use the tool set. So if tournament guys have to use one of three variations or one of five variations, all my friends are gonna make their own custom Sub Zeros and their own custom strikers, and I'm like, I have to use one of the fucking three variations. I'm like, I want to make my own Sub Zero because I want it to be mine. That's a big part of fighting games is expression, and it's something that never gets talked about. I don't want to have to like make a Sub Zero and just never use it in casuals. So I have to train my, Yeti water cooler Sub Zero for tournament. That's not fun. I don't want to do that. So like,
But equally, how would it work in ranked? I mean, if we were ranked, are you restricted to tournament variations there? Can you use custom variations in ranked?
I think it'll be not custom. If the tournament, if the regional guys can't use it, they're going to make the tournament mode only use the presets. That's what I
would agree. I would agree.
Probably. You guys did a really good job.
You
guys.
Well, here's a question for you,
Django.
Django.
All out there. What's that?
If tournament variations are preset, then for you personally, does that mean you're going to only use the preset variations as those are the competitive ones? Or are you still going to customize your own Sub-Zero and use that regardless? What are you going to do, man?
It'll be probably the same thing I did in Injustice. Hopefully not as limiting as Injustice, though. Like, listen, I got my dig stick. Like, there's no way I'm not going to use it after spending so long trying to get it. But, about 80% of the time I was playing Robin, I was playing normal Robin. And it'll be the same with Sub-Zero. If they make us make that choice again, like, if they make it to where it's just, like, I'm pretty sure you said it, it kind of makes that stuff useless if you're interested in it from a competitive standpoint. Obviously, I'm not going to tournaments, but I play ranked all the time. I really enjoy playing ranked. And I would assume it would be the same situation there as it would be for tournaments, the competitive standard, whatever. So yeah, I would use one of the competitive Sub-Zeros, like almost all the time, but make my really, really stupid Sub-Zero to go online with sometimes and get blown up by like some crazy Scarlet that's really dumb. Man, maybe I won't do that. Maybe I will just.
It's tough. I mean, I'm only going to use the presets if that's all I got, but it would just be a pain point for me because I would like to make my own Sub-Zero and give it, or my own main and give it a name that's super trolly. Yes. That would be my preference.
I don't want them making us have to choose again. Like the gap between, the casual play and the competitive play, like don't separate those two as much as they did with Injustice 2. I hope that's not the case. Because it would be super fucking cool. Like, obviously, like you said, to be able to make your own variation and it still be competitively viable. That's the dream. Give it to us, NRS, please.
Well, that covers all my variation talk. I didn't get a time quote, so how are we doing on reels, man?
We are at 1:44. That would give us 15 minutes before I need to flip the reels.
Would it be better just take a break now then? And just
yes, it would. This is a good time. Where did we leave off?
Well, of the positives, we left off on variation, but of the positives, the only thing I think we didn't cover, and this is a positive for me at least, was that the changes to neutral jump punch, which I think are really cool.
I think that's a good change.
It either leads to a combo or it leads to pressure, and both are very useful to me. And throw evasion was a big problem in MKX. Throw evasion was such an issue. So I think this is super cool. Also, it's getting a fucking combo because you air to air against a fucking neutral jump punch is the dumbest shit ever. But yeah, go on.
NJPs were fun, dude. Like, come on. I'm not sad that they're gone, but they were funny. And that's honestly something that that is a concern of mine. I'm glad that I thought of this. Well done, Django. Eris always says that thing about, like, good or bad, NRS games are always funny. And he's right. And because they're taking out so many things, like we've talked about, like Band-Aid shit, like breakers and fucking armor and blah, 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 they might be taking out a lot of the funny with this game. Like, and JPs are one of them, like bounces. Like, this might be the least funny Mortal Kombat ever.
I mean, it's a nice trade, I guess. Neutral jump punches were a hoot, but I'm not going to miss them as they were in X. So
yeah, JPs are fun, Smoke Man. I fucking see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like Smoke Man says, when you main I'm sure NJ.
They're dumb. They are super dumb, but they're fun.
Although I quite like using NJPs as a really random wake up. So when someone's trying to blow up your wake up and you just NJP over,
such a strong wake up strat. It is, or it was. It will be missed.
Good job to them for anticipating that. Now there's a tool built specifically for that. Now it's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was a really good. That's something that really gave me kind of hope, I suppose. One of the first things that kind of keyed me off is the fact that they'd really paid attention to the complaints and to kind of rebuilding the game, and that they just altered NJPs entirely.
It was the biggest surprise. Well, maybe I think Breakers disappearing was probably the biggest surprise, but I definitely did not see them doing the Street Fighter neutral jump. That took me aback. And I didn't know that until Cyborg came into the voice chat and told me that. I was like, oh, the fuck is what? So that was crazy to me. But yeah, that's really honestly all I have to say about it. I have a theory, and this is just a theory.
Uh-oh.
Everyone calm the fuck down.
I love theory crafting.
Oh no.
But this game is almost like a prototype for Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter in many ways. I feel like Akuma is almost a given as a guest character now.
You're not
for
wrong.
One of the packs.
I've that thought.
I mean, the framework is all there now.
I thought about that.
Do you really? But would Capcom be okay with like Akuma being butchered, being like mutilated?
My pre-Monster Hunter Capcom, yes, because they were going broke. But with Monster Hunter now, it's harder to say. But I feel like Warner Brothers could have bought Capcom with the way they were going.
True.
So it's hard to say now. But I think at the very least, I don't see why Capcom would say no to Akuma, because you can't rip off Chun-Li's head.
No.
But they're like, yeah, you can rip off Akuma's head. That's kind of his thing.
And he'll come back. Like, he fucking died in Tekken, and he was fine later on. Like, it's fine. You can't kill Akuma.
This is what
I mean, you can kill him, but he ain't staying dead. He's like Raiden. He'll just fucking reform in Street Fighter, and he'll be fine. And
yeah, fucking.
I want to play him.
Yeah.
I'm a big Akuma fan. I just want to play him in Mortal Kombat.
In this game, I wouldn't even be mad. I mean, I'm glad you're leaning towards Dragunov and Tekken, but I would be pissed if you bought Tekken and played Akuma. But I wouldn't feel that way in this game.
That would be so fucking crazy. I'm playing Mortal Kombat and I'm maining Akuma. That's like one of the craziest fucking pipe dreams of a little dumb Django, and now I get to be an old dumb Django. That'd be sick.
I'm sad because this is what I wanted to say on the Nethercast last night, but like I said, I had to bail at the last second. So, but right or wrong, the framework is definitely there. They couldn't do MKX Cross Street Fighter because the engines are just contradictory. Now they're not. Now the mechanics line up in big ways. So we'll see. I mean, I'm going to be wrong about a lot of things. I've said Kentaro was going to be in the game.
You are.
Said Smoke is going to be in the game. So maybe this will add to the list. I may eat the biggest newspaper when this game comes out, but if I'm lying, I'm dying. I really do think the evidence is there. So
you keep
the evidence
bringing
of the
up that
intent,
Kentaro
at least.
thing, dude.
Well,
like you'd think that you would let it die, and maybe people won't remember it, but God bless you. No, you're sticking to your guns. I respect that.
They're my guns, man. I can't.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen at all.
But listen. In all fairness, there's a lot of things going on in this game that I said would never fucking happen. So
Yeah, but I have more faith in Cobra coming back the way I want than I do Kintaro coming back.
Cobra.
I wouldn't be against that. I
No,
love Cobra.
I don't hate Cobra.
Well, that's because my Cobra is the most underrated character in the history of Mortal Kombat.
That's a big. Do you know how many? Dude, this is Mortal Kombat we're talking about. You know how many characters they have in their dumpster of characters? They got a lot.
Yeah, but if you reinvent Cobra as a serious hero, like I'm always saying, he'd be fucking badass.
There's so many. That's always the thing with NRS characters. Like, if you reinvent them, it's like.
I don't know. Dairu's
that's a
fucked.
big if.
Dairu is fucked, in my view.
Even if you could redeem him, I don't like the way he looks. I wouldn't want that character back.
Yeah, Dairu was a weird guy.
Dairu or Cobra?
Well, Cobra has the long blonde hair, so Temp would be into him. Temp
oh yeah, I love sexy long hair, which is one reason why I'm not super big on Chronica or anyone bald, really. I feel like, I mean, this is just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but this is precisely what makes him underrated. I think probably Taven is the most underrated character.
Oh my god!
But that's me.
Underrated?
I didn't like either of them.
I think Chameleon's also super underrated as well. I don't think people know what they're giving up on when they throw Chameleon away.
What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Taven's like
a few things.
Weird Ben Affleck face, dude. Taven just why? You brought this up, and now I have to ask why. I don't want to ask.
I like his standing in the universe for one thing, and I like the brother dynamics a lot. But I just think the God Armor makes for a potentially good moveset. I don't hate the design either. Chameleon with a C. That's a very good question, Razino. It is Chameleon with a C. I actually do not like Chameleon with a K at all. I have no desire to see another Zetarian in Mortal Kombat. But
damn.
Yeah, thank you for asking me that. Chameleon with a C, I think, is incredibly underrated. But I like him because he's not a lizard. If he was a lizard, I'd lose all interest. I like the Enigma a lot, and I like the move potential a lot. But well, since we're talking about stuff people don't like, maybe we should transition into worries?
It sounds like, that's where we are.
Okay, well, my biggest worry is just they may have lowered the execution ceiling a little too much, but I should counter this immediately with there's going to be a lot of execution requirements with Flawless Block. So this is kind of a soft concern, but it's definitely my biggest concern. I really hope I can do some fun, cool execution stuff as I could at MKX, because that's one of the few things I did like about MKX. And as with MK9, I love combo construction in MK9 as well, with the dash canceling. So, how do you guys feel?
Oh, wait, yes. I forgot about that earlier. Dash canceling. It's really hard to gauge like how big the gap is between when you dash and then when you can cancel it with the block. Obviously, like, I know it's longer than MK9. It's not an MK9 situation. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't even know how you would answer that, Evan. But I don't know. How did that feel to you? The dash blocking I'm talking about here.
I got it like twice. It felt tight, to be honest. Dashing feels weird in this game. They like, in as much as you can dash cancel, they don't want you to. They really want the meta, the movement in this game to be walking. Like, one of my go-to wake-ups was backdash. Wake-up backdash was a very underrated tool in MKX. Doesn't work here at all. Yeah, it does not work here at all. I wouldn't place a huge amount of focus or hope on dashing or dash cancels. I really think the meta is going.
Did we lose you? Are you there? Okay, you just cut off there at the end.
There? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they have made it very clear that like they're not encouraging you to do stuff like dash blocking and stuff like that in MK11, but it's also like interesting that they would put it there anyway, even though that's obviously not what they're going to do to give you that option. Can you cancel a dash with an attack faster than you can with the block?
I actually
can't. Okay, you know better than I would, but go on.
Well, I mean, I think you can, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
So if you're more sure that you can't temp or that you can't, I'd be inclined to go with that.
The only reason why I think that the attack would cancel slower is because a block takes almost no frames, while an attack would take, I don't know, at probably minimum 6. So I would think
Yeah.
the reason why dash cancels aren't as strong in MK9 is because MK9 you're able to cancel the startup for the most part, not completely, but for the most part. There's a much more set startup frame amount of frames, and that's why they're just not as useful, because by the time you cancel it, you've already kind of transpired so many frames. So I think it's the same, but I could be. I have no I have no idea.
This segues nicely into one of my concerns or worries now that we're on this stuff. Do you think it's going to have any sort of tangible negative effect having this game had so little hands-on time with players between, when it was first revealed and when it's going to be released? Because, usually they come out at E3 and you have like several months there of different shows they can go to, people hands-on time. Here we got like they have, not us, they have 3 to 4 months sort of time to get feedback from people actually playing the game. That seems like, in a lot of developers' case, like that would be a problem. That could be problematic for them and create problems later on. You guys see that being an issue, or what do you think?
I don't know. I imagine the QA team is much bigger this time because of the budget. So maybe that's why they waited, is because they knew they had the muscle to balance this game better. Because when you watch the reaction videos back in December, you could tell who the true fans were. The true fans were the ones who freaked out at the release date. Those who were like, "Oh, this is so hype," but when April pops up, they have no reaction. That's how you know they're fucking, they want click traffic. They don't give a shit.
Uh-huh.
Or at least not beyond past a superficial level. But like the guys who saw the release date and fucking like flipped out of their chair, that's how you know who the true fans were. So
yeah, I woke up at like 5 a.m. and not to see. I just woke up at 5 a.m. I was getting up and I saw the trailer, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And I was gonna go back to sleep, and then I saw April 23rd. Like, fuck. That was a lightning bolt up my ass. But I agree, and one thing that really comes across about NRS this time around, far more so than ever, is they feel so confident about the game. Like MK9 was kind of like it was like your first time, so you don't really know where you're supposed to put things, and you're just kind of like fumbling at stuff, and you've seen stuff on the internet, and you think that's how it's supposed to be done. So you kind of
player one advantage is fine. What's the big deal?
Player one advantage is fine. Yeah, and then MKX was just kind of, it felt very rushed. Not even just not that it felt rushed being put together, but it felt as though everything was, we need to have this done now. Everything was, it felt so, almost not desperate is the wrong way, but almost grasping, in that they just wanted it to work so badly, and they wanted to cement their position so badly.
Frantic's what I always call that game. That game,
frantic, yeah.
In every way,
Frantic,
it just felt frantic to me, which is one of the bigger reasons why I don't love it. I'm glad not to go back there.
Yeah, but 11 just feels very, very mature, very confident. I'd agree fully with that. And I'm not sure if the QA department was bigger. From the tournament side, I know there's more guys who've gone into testing and Q&A than ever before. While they've actually seemingly cut down on the leaks with the NDAs. But maybe that is the case. To me, it just feels like a more confident developer.
That could be the case. Yeah. I mean, even if the QA team was smaller, I think the good news is that neutral heavy games are just easier to balance because the options aren't as crazy, you don't yeah.
I was gonna say, like the way Injustice 2 is a very, very balanced game because it's much more neutral focused than MKX. I mean, the only real problem with Injustice is Superman not being strong.
Yes,
it gives me hope. I'm optimistic in many ways.
I want to be optimistic. I want to see it as fine. No, yeah, go ahead.
if there is broken shit though, you have flawless block too, so you can the engine lets you compensate for your weaknesses, which I think is so important in a fighting game. The drawback of that is sometimes shit becomes too homogenous. That's probably the big criticism. I mean, I can't call it the big criticism because no one really gives a shit. But one of the things that I think maybe pushes people away from Tekken is that every character has a very similar tool set. It's just the application is a little different, and that's where its balance comes from. And I feel like, I will take that trade. I'll make the game more homogenous if it means it's going to be more balanced. But I don't necessarily think that's going to be a problem with what I've seen so far. The variety seems great right now. And speaking of Ultra David, he said that when he asked why did they pick these 7 characters, their response was because these are the ones who are farthest along. Now, whether that's true or not is up for debate. I don't know if that's
a weird thing to say.
It's a weird thing to say in January, right?
Like from a PR standpoint, like and it's hard to believe that anyone would say that. Just like, that's a bad thing to say, it seems like.
Well, maybe he meant in terms of balance, because I have to say, the characters all did feel balanced, so maybe he meant it, or it was meant less in kinds of animation, development, and more. These are the characters we're fairly happy with.
Gear as well. I think gear may have been a factor in that. It's we just haven't got all their shoes done yet.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I'm gonna keep being, worried about shit like that. But the time frame thing does worry me a little bit. And I really wish the beta was sooner to kind of offset that a little bit. To me, I feel like if the beta was coming a little sooner, they would have time to get that feedback and apply it, because there's not that much time between the beta and release. Like, how much time is there? The beta is March 28th?
There's 25 days, I think. There's 25 days between beta and release.
I mean, I don't know how much time I don't know how much feedback they can really get that they can use, aside from, like, networking feedback, which maybe that's all the fuck they care about with the beta, is testing their network.
That's my suspicion. But it's a weird time. You're right, it's a weird time frame.
But I mean, you're right. They definitely do. MK11, they've definitely shown an air of confidence that they have in this game, and they should. The game is clearly it has this vibe of elegance, with obviously with simplicity, and that's okay. That's very okay. You don't have to have fucking all this crazy shit in the game for it to be, a good fighting game. Oftentimes, that's not the case. The more elegant, the simpler solutions let the players come through way more easily, and then you get better competition. That's the thing that I always put as, like, ideally in a fighting game, you want the only variables to be the players. When you have a simpler and more refined setup like that, it's way easier to make sure that that's the case. And that also contributes to this kind of Street Fighter feeling that it has. It's like, this is, people were saying that shit before they announced it. I forgot who it was, but one of the testers or something, whatever, had said something like, they're going to change the NRS, or is changing the combo approach and whatnot to something a little more Street Fighter. It's like, really? What the fuck? But it is really interesting having seen it in motion now.
The first I heard of that was from Shujinki Dink, but I don't think it was the origin of that. And it ended up being kind of... what was first, Evan? Was it on TYM first, or was it from Dink first?
I think it was TYM put it on from Dink. I don't want to downplay TYM, but I think we got it from Dink. Okay. I can see where it came from. I mean, it's not true, but the game really... if you're comparing the combo system to MKX, there really is no... It's much closer. I think Injustice is probably the fairer comparison as a combo system, but with MKX buttons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this is definitely the case.
And I mean, the amount of strings is really, really down. It's not like MKX where you had 15 odd strings and two of them were useful.
But that's
Like
always
you
been
have
their fucking thing. That's something that's always bugged the shit out of me. Like,
it's not like that anymore. It's the only character who had a large amount of strings was Scorpion.
That's
Um,
awesome because it's so much easier to memorize a fucking meter burn input than it is to memorize four other strings and then
yeah,
laugh
like I
to see if
mean,
they're useful or not.
Scarlet, if I remember correctly, Scarlet only had three, maybe three or four. Actually, I could be wrong on this, but definitely no more than 4 or 5 strings that had 3 buttons or more in them. It was string wise is a very straightforward game.
that's just, it seems like common sense, but you know what? They had player one advantage, so you can't really assume that. Like, if you're gonna fucking put this string in the game, make it useful. If it's not useful, get it out of there. Like, why are you doing this if it doesn't have any, application to the game, any utility? I don't know. Maybe that was just a thing that they did.
Better about that,
No,
to
no,
be
yeah,
fair.
they have gotten better about that. And
In MKX, almost every string could fit into one category. Either fits into a mix-up string, B, punish string, or C, combo construction. So, yeah, there was an improvement, I think. There was definitely an encouragement to use a variety of strings with Sub-Zero. I felt that way, at least.
I mean, I know that I use like 2 of his strings, and it was pretty effective if you want to be a scrub killer online.
Looking forward, 3-3 punishes.
Yep. Yeah. There was. Yeah, I fucking did. I still do it in Injustice. It's still there. And it's good.
It's a good string. Good.
Man, I'm gonna miss that drop hammer. Yeah. I guess that was my time frame worry. What's the next one?
This is. I don't know if it's my biggest worry, but it's definitely the dumbest. It's the dumbest thing in the game right now, in my opinion. I hate the throw meta. I hate the fact that if you guess a tech wrong, you get more damage. And from what I understand, it's pretty significant too.
Yeah.
Well, that's only for 2 characters.
Really? Which characters?
That's only for Baraka and Scorpion.
Oh, so for everyone else, you don't get a damage boost for the tech?
Yeah, maybe it was damage boost, but certainly for a crushing blow.
Oh, okay.
That only happened for Baraka and Scorpion.
According to 16-bit, I don't know if it's a crushing blow, but he said there is a damage increase if you guess the tech wrong. But you're right. I mean, I may have misunderstood that.
Yeah, well, I could be wrong, but the only ones I can remember seeing or having done to me, were as a crushing blow for the throw were Baraka and Scorpion.
Interesting.
So
Right,
that could be and to be fair, if you PND the throw attempt, you can get a D2 counter hit, which you can then combo off for like 40%.
No.
Interesting. Oh wow, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, if you neutral duck the throw, you can hit them with a D2, or you can neutral jump it and then go into a string and then pressure from there.
That will be a really interesting thing, like, to see something like, because there are some fucking really specific crushing blow things. What was it, Raiden, if you try to like counter one of his projectiles and you fail it like twice, he gets a crushing blow when off the projectile or something like that. I forgot what it was, but it was so specific. Like, but if that stuff's not universal, which I hope is not universal, that will also make things more interesting as far as character variety goes.
Yeah, I hope this is a misunderstanding, but if it's only crushing blows, I'm 100% okay with that. That is all right. I'm fine.
And to be fair, it is harder to come by damage in the NRS game to
Which
come
is
by
good.
damage in. So yeah, so I'm not objecting to it. I'm just saying that a damage increase for an improperly attacked throw, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Do you guys like the throw input? Are you glad they kept it the same, or are you not? I've never been a huge fan of how they handle text in MK.
Yeah, I wish taking throws was.
Yeah, I don't like the way they text in.
Your dyslexic is a nightmare.
Okay.
It's just fucking nutty.
It's just because
Then seeing Sonic Fox do it right so many times, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no one else can do that shit. How do you know? But he knows.
Well, for me, like it's like either it's one is associated to back throws, and another one is associated to forward throws. And if you reverse sides, my brain just turns off. It's like I can't process left and right the same way as other human beings. So
I fully agree with what Smokeman just said. I've all throw techs are accidental. I've never teched a throw on purpose. Never. It's always a happy coincidence.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's always on purpose when I do it. Every time.
Every time.
Every time. No, I wish they would.
Every time.
I wish they would change that. I really wish they would change that.
Yeah, it's to be fair. I can't think of another way to, because if it's just like tap, like anti throw, like they hit L1 to throw you, you hit L1 to tech it. That seems a bit overly simple. But I agree that the 50-50 way is kind of bullshit.
I thought that was how, but isn't that how Street Fighter does it? Like to tech throws?
I don't really play Street Fighter, so I can't really testify on that front.
Oh, you're fucking helpful. Somebody tell me, help me out. Temp is gone.
Well, Temp
died.
Temp's gone. Oh,
Well, Injustice and Street Fighter kind of handle throws the same way. I don't think there's any difference as far as I know.
okay.
I believe
So, but I mean, I at least do the Tekken approach and make the animation inform me which way I need to tech so I can react to it. I wish they would do that. With Tekken, if they throw with their left hand, then you have to do like a one input. If they throw with their right hand, you have to do a 2 input. And they throw with both hands, you do 1+2 to tech the throw. But you have time to react to it, and the animation tells you what to tech. You just have to be good at what you're doing.
I love the way Tekken does throws, even from a visual perspective. Throws from different angles and throws from behind.
Yes.
I think that's cool as shit.
Street
Yeah,
Fighter
remember
is
we
just
were
one
worried
tech.
this game was going to be 3D?
What? What did you say? What did you say? What do you?
I said, remember when we were worried this game was going to be 3D?
I remember when I was worried about that. I'm still worried about that. I'm always worried about that.
It's
my nightmare.
I don't think there'll ever be. Well, maybe ever is a strong thing to say. For the next decade, I don't see 3D fighters making a comeback. I really think that the paradigm has gone back to 2D.
It definitely has, as far as just popularity of new fighting games that are coming out are 2D. I don't think Mortal Kombat will ever go back to 3D, at least not with their numbered entries, because they shouldn't. That's retarded. If they want to do a 3D fighting game, they can, but don't make it a numbered entry. Make it like Mortal Kombat. Save. That's what I would do, is save subtitle entries for that shit. If you want to make more 3D games, go make Mortal Kombat, Deadly Retarded or something. It's not a number. It's a subtitle, and subtitle Mortal Kombats are shitty in 3D. And do that forever. Just do it forever. That's fine.
I just remake Biofreaks. I want to see that remade.
Biofreaks.
That game was fucked up.
That was that was something. Man. Did I have another worry? Did you have another worry, Tim? You guys have any more worries?
I mean, a lot of them have been addressed already. I'm worried that they're going to lock out the competitive guys from custom variations. We've already kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
My other worry is that the roster size is going to be too small, and I don't want to talk about the roster anymore. I'll just hope I get what I get, and hopefully there's more blocks next time they reveal the build.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into spoiler chat and read what's been said of, yeah.
What?
Oh, I can do that. That's easy. Let me do that right now.
What did you say? What are you talking about? What did you do? What?
Well, there's been discussion of the roster size in chat, and there might be some.
Just roster size? Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm tired. It's not that it's not an important topic. It's just I'm fatigued.
There's
I
nothing
don't
to
want to
say
think
about
my.
Everyone
It's
wants
just a
more
lot of wasted
characters,
energy.
but talking about it every day, all day long, isn't going to make their. I mean, you're just not going to figure anything out. No one's going to know until the thing fucking comes out and we see. Until
We
then,
already talked about it a year before the game was revealed, so I was tired of talking about it before they revealed this shit.
You're right.
I don't know, but my only other real worry, and it's not really a worry, it's probably the weakest of my worries, is the potency of conversions seems about the same as it did in MKX. I think unless we get dash cancels back, we'll never see MK9 versions ever again. That's okay though. That is a trade I am happy to take.
Yeah, I think that you're gonna have to hold that, I'm afraid.
And that's fine. I think I got so many things in my favor that if I get a true mid-range game again, I am more than happy. And it's not like it's all gone. We'll see how viable they are, but ketchup and mustard in their gameplay video were doing jab anti-air combos. So
they were.
Sub-Zero has them. Sub-Zero has in the corner. He has a repeated one jab.
Interesting.
That's his go-to in the corner, I would say.
Oh man, it's gonna be fucking. I can't wait. It's gonna
I'm
be
down there.
yeah, it's gonna be MK9 Johnny Cage all over again. It's okay, man. It was funny to watch.
Yeah, again, I was a fan.
I know you were a fan. I know. Sub-Zero, dude. He's got some range in this game. It's really interesting what they're doing with him.
Yeah, Sub-Zero's an interesting character in this game. He's very safe. Very. He feels quite rushdowny to me. There's a bit of zoning and there's a bit of footsies, but to me, he seems like a kind of like a whiff punish rushdown hybrid. What's a really interesting button he has is his forward 4.
That run kick.
Yeah, it's like a running
Yeah.
punt.
It goes far too. It goes really far.
Yeah, it caught me out literally half a dozen times because I'm like, I got space, and then boom, I don't have space.
How safe was that, Evan?
That's what I was going to ask. How safe is that? It looks safe.
It was safe that I don't think I couldn't punish it with Scarlet's back 3-4. I think I punished it with her 1-2-4. So I'd say it's reasonably safe, but it's not entirely safe. But again, frame data is subject to immediate change. But no, Sub-Zero's...
Yeah.
No, go on.
Well, that's another reason why I think people are super premature to worry about zoning, is because every character who's not a zoner I've seen so far either has a forward projecting normal with Baraka as cancelable with his forward 4, or the character has a teleport. So I think people, I think their injustice kind of scarred them in many ways. So
yeah, the game actually reminds me of in a way. Well, certainly the build that was at the demo reminded me of was kind of MK9 in that, not even necessarily how it was played, but in that every character felt like they had some kind of bullshit, which is very MK9 to me, where everybody is bullshit like half of the roster is bullshit in their own way. So if they go through that, if they go for that kind of design philosophy, where everybody is really, really strong, but because of that they balance each other out, I think that'd be a huge positive.
Agreed. I absolutely agree with that.
Wait, Sub-Zero's slide is great. Yeah, Rain Reptile's right. He's really good in this game.
Wait, his slide?
His slide, yeah.
It looked like I had a lot of recovery on it compared to MKX. MKX slide was nutty, but it looked like I had a little bit more on it this time.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Yes. Man, I'm thinking about Sub-Zero over here and I'm wanting to fucking play it. Another reason why I want that beta to be sooner, just so I can fucking play it.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy Sub-Zero, actually.
I do too. Everything that I've seen so far, what they've done with him, I think is interesting, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer that the clone's gone, but I've got a lot of fucking new toys to play with. His new projectiles and shit, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's competitively useful as far as variations go and all that shit. I hope that thing where they're all, there's some combination of something where that fits in that's competitive. Okay. I do hope that I can swap out all of his fucking axes. Because he has a lot of axe moves. He's very axey.
Yeah, they went heavy on the axes, which is a weird choice to me, but
I get it why they probably didn't want to use the hammer again, because Shao Kahn's going to be in the game.
Shao's back, yeah, and everyone seems to have a fucking sword. And they went really heavy on sword for Scorpion. Scorpion's very sword.
Oh, Scorpion is sword. Fucking, it was not quite as bad as Robin, but he used a lot of sword in this game.
He's sword tier. I mean, there's his stance Misery Blade, which is it's you can cancel into overhead.
Oh I saw that. Yeah,
you can go overhead, you can go low, but if you meter burn the overhead, he teleports out of the overhead and does a low. And if you do meter burn the low, he teleports out of the low. It's going to be a fucking nightmare.
That sounds like fun. I'll look forward to dealing with that.
Yeah, and he's very swordy. Particularly even just the stance itself is cool. He kind of flicks the sword out with his thumb. But I'm surprised they went 100% axe for Sub-Zero. I don't think axe when I think Sub-Zero.
well, that's the thing. Like, I don't think anybody thought Hammer before MKX for Sub-Zero.
No, yeah, that's true.
But
Hammer makes sense though because it's a complement to Sword. So I absolutely when I saw Hammer, I'm like, oh, of course. Axe is not really a complement to anything. Axe is just like
right.
a different approach to sharp things. So I don't.
To me, the Hammer was also like, you're the fucking Grandmaster. You're the fucking, judge, jury, and executioner of the Lin Kuei. Fucking, you get the big gavel. You get the fucking hammer. It's like this, whatever sign of position or power or whatever. Maybe that's just my headcanon.
Well, the sword is chivalry. The axe speaks minion to me. When I think axe, I think underling. Yeah.
I
think of the buff dude who's not allowed to talk.
I like hammers in general as well, so I'm gonna miss it. But
see, axe to me
I just like variety. What's up?
I was gonna say axe to me says like Viking, says like mindless rage, fury. And I don't think that when I think Sub-Zero, which is weird because the axe they gave the axe Ermac and Deception. That doesn't suit him either.
No.
Scorpion in the mini battle axe and Ultimate MK
Scorpion
has just been hoed out everywhere.
Axes suit Scorpion better than they would suit Sub-Zero, I would have thought. But then again, he is the Japanese samurai ninja thingy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think axes are very Chinese either. Are they? Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, I usually think like feudalistic Europe when I think battle axe.
Yeah. No, Chrome tells us axes are a high esteem weapon. Chinese.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
You are off a bit. Fuck you. Why do you gotta fucking correct me whenever I'm wrong? Fine.
I just like diversity. I actually love battle axes as an aesthetic. I don't know why he only has battle axes.
I agree. Listen, but that was one of his gear items. Was his axe? There was several different axes, so maybe they can give me something else. But
I don't know. I mean,
there were like 5 axes there in the demo that I saw.
Yeah, I presume that like there'll be a lot more gear in the final game, because if there is, then like
they're better.
If there isn't, then like 3 slots with 5 options each seems a bit sparse. And I imagine they'll do like they do updates, because I really think they should take advantage of this with the gear system.
They better.
Indeed.
They fucking better. I want that Scorpion mask for Sub-Zero too. I want them to have the fucking his Mortal Kombat 2 looking one.
Oh yeah, with the slits in it.
Yes. They both have like one of those things. Like Sub-Zero also has a dopey plastic paintball looking mask. I want them fucking just to give them both that mask because they're fucking palette swaps and shit. I want all of them to
Sub-Zero has
Rain Reptile agrees.
Sub-Zero has a lot better skins. Sub-Zero has a lot better skins than Scorpion. A lot of Scorpion skins are vile. Sub-Zero has some beautiful skins in there.
Sub-Zero skins seem to be pretty divisive.
Oh no, he's got all that white. I love the white.
I like the white a lot. Yeah, I'm all about white Sub-Zeros. I got my Injustice. I know it started with MKX. I did the Revenant skin with the alternate color, the white.
Yeah, that was my when I played Sub-Zero. That was my I never, not that I ever played Sub-Zero, but when I did, that was my favorite costume.
Yeah, I started with that one. In Injustice, I just kept going with the Ice Geist. I got my Snow Ghost, and I was really happy to see all the fucking white options that he had. I like the bandana too. The bandana's sick.
That's the only alternate color I'm okay with on a ninja. Like if I were in charge, like a Scorpion shouldn't be anything but yellow and black. Sub-Zero shouldn't be. Sub-Zero can have blue and white, but if we have Reptile in the game, can I make Reptile purple? Can I make Reptile orange? That just seems wrong. You know what I mean?
This is a very controversial issue around these parts. And it is. How dare you change the color? Like give one ninja color to a different ninja. And I get it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
That's the thing. I do like Scorpion's Wolverine skin though, or his Wolverine color set. It's got the yellow and the blue on it. Like as soon as you see it,
that's hideous.
It's so cool. It's fucking Wolverine colors, dude.
So bad. It's awful.
It's the best. I really like Scorpion's his samurai bun without the hood on. That thing looks sick too.
Yeah, I think that'll be my Scorpion. Will probably be, if I were to speculate at this stage. I think that looks really good.
I hope that I'm sure they will add more gear and skins and all that shit. And again, I want those ninjas to share those things, because Scorpion's like retro looking skin in the game looks really good.
Well, I imagine there'll be like formal retro skins. There'll be like an MK in, because we're getting we're not getting premier skins. I won't trigger Judgment Fist when this is, but we are getting like skins released. Like so, the Jon Stewart and the Power Girl skins were released, and I imagine a lot of them will be like MK1, MK2, MK3.
Yeah, they have to. They put the fucking MK3 one in the CG trailer. It's like, yeah, they gotta put those things in there. They better. Otherwise, they're fucking gonna get lynched. What's was there anything else? Like, what's the?
I mean, I guess we probably could address the solution to 50/50s a bit. I don't think we've talked about that yet. The fact that most overheads just splat now, and that's including the short hop. It sounds like the block. Yeah. Well, I was going to say the block meta is now completely block low, and hopefully you can react to the overheads, or if you don't react to the overheads, or if they're not reactable, then you just get a knockdown. And then, I mean, with the defensive options, I don't even think that's the worst thing in the world anymore. So they really did a good job of that. I'm very happy they went that direction.
The only overheads and strings, if I remember correctly, Garrus had I think his 241 ended in an overhead. That went low, mid, overhead. And Scarlet's 124 was high overhead. So yeah, I think the defense meta will be block low. And frankly, as a Kano player, that's familiar because I had no overheads. So everyone just blocked low against me. So I'll be playing the same game.
Okay. Yeah, so far so good then. I mean, that's the one thing everyone was complaining about, and it's fixed. And even the low starters don't do a super huge amount of damage. So yeah, good on them. I can't praise these guys enough, you know? So that covers everything I wanted to add. Is there anything positive or negative you want to mention before we wrap it up, guys?
Well, I've got thorough notes on all the characters. So if you guys have any questions on specific characters, like what they're about, Scarlet, Baraka, all that stuff, I'm here to help.
He's so studious, man. This guy was just fucking.
I was in the middle of a nightclub, like surrounded by incredible living, scribbling notes in a copybook, and I was like, "Good God, what's wrong with me? I should be hitting on someone."
No, you did it right. You did it right. You're doing the Lord's work.
I mean, you answered my biggest question, which is how safe is Scarlet? And that was just kind of churning at me because that's going to determine how I play the character. And we covered that. I don't really want to ask anything about Sonya. I mean, I got all the information I need about Sonya at the videos. So, and I'm not playing that character ever in my life. So I don't ask about it.
I'll make an addendum for Sonya.
We're losing you. I think.
Hold on, am I back?
Evan.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry.
Don't try to fucking skip out of here early. You just chill out. What do you got?
My notes for Sonya are as follows. Not playing because why the fuck would I? Apparently a good zoner. If Ronda Rousey thinks she'd be chosen by Raiden, someone should tell Amanda Nunes. Those are my notes on Sonya.
I like it.
I
like it.
It's Raiden. Man, that dude has got some fucking zoning tools.
Range. It's fucking range. Raiden's forward 2-2 hits literally 70% across the screen. It's absurd. And it's high, mid, low, I think. Or it's mid, low. That string is going to cause people fucking heartache.
I forgot what it was. It was whatever in the exhibition shit, Sonic Fox versus who was it? The last fight there? Not Tweety. The other dude. What was his name? I don't know. Whatever.
Rewind?
Who was it?
Are you talking about the Raiden player?
Yeah, the Raiden player.
Rewind.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, that fucking thing where Raiden stomps and that lightning bolt.
Oh, yeah, the God mode thing. That's fucking sick looking.
What do you... Like 16-bit said that whole fucking thing is the hitbox. Like...
Yeah, you can't jump. So when that happens, it's less a projectile and it's more like a thin wall is coming down on the screen.
That is fucking nutty, dude.
that if I were to make any observation, projectiles and like overhead summons, if that makes sense. So like that lightning bolt or
Yeah.
Scarlet's blood tongue, they seemed very strong in that build. And they said they didn't track, but they felt like they were tracking. Scarlet's blood tongue was a really strong zone. Raiden's lightning bolt.
Both of those did look
So,
really,
yeah.
really strong. And that anti-air that Raiden has too, that fucking weird looking one.
Oh, yeah.
That, like,
when
sucks
he sends
you
that
in or
lightning
some
bolt
shit?
across the screen. Yeah, if you're like an inch,
Did we lose
that
you?
is a really, really cool idea.
I mean,
Where?
we lost you for a second. It's okay. Raiden's lightning bolt sucked you in for a minute.
Sorry, yeah, Raiden's lightning bolt. It's really fucking cool. If you're like an inch off the ground, it will grab you.
That's not
yeah.
cool. That's not cool at all.
No, but it is kind of cool. It's like it's limited in its utility, I think, but it is a hell of an anti-air if you can call it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get caught by that a lot. I'm gonna be fucking dealing with that. That scares me. That thing is scary. It looks janky too, but I mean it's okay. But it's like, man, watching some of the video, it's like that hit and that did that. Okay, it's Raiden. Listen,
But I mean,
Raiden's
what I think you want to do with
pissed.
Raiden, yeah, what you want to do with Raiden is you want to get up close. But his zoning, well, not even necessarily his zoning, but his footsie range and his whiff punishing, that seemed very strong.
He's got dick stick combos too.
He does, yeah. Raiden is staffed here. Raiden categorically staffed here,
I-
and you can customize the staff too. So that might be a
Yeah.
Django second.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird. Like the first fucking video they rolled, it's like, oh, there's Raiden. Oh, he actually has Nightwing's combo. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fucking weird, but that is a very good string, and it looks like Raiden definitely needs more really good strings and really good tools.
Yeah, and
boy, that guy.
and I mean, I would say that like a Nightwing main will be disqualified playing Raiden because Raiden has mobility, but Nightwing had fuck all mobility either,
Yeah, that's true.
which is very ironic for like the best acrobat in the world had no mobility.
Well, they were still figuring shit out in that first game. I miss Nightwing. Nightwing was sick. Raiden seems really tough in this game.
Yeah, I mean, 16-bit said he thought Raiden was stronger. For me, I would have had Raiden third or fourth. I
We
think
lost you a
Baraka was-
little bit. You said Raiden, 16-bit said Raiden was the strongest?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on. I'm cutting out
Oh,
now.
no worries.
Yeah, 16-bit said he thought Raiden was probably the strongest character in that build. I would have had him third or fourth. I would have thought Baraka was clearly the first, and then I would have said Scorpion, then Sub-Zero, and then Raiden. But obviously, it's way too early to talk about tiers or anything like that.
Yeah, 16-bit probably has seen multiple versions of Raiden, even probably since
Yes, he probably has. Yeah,
the events.
but NRS have been saying that. NRS have been saying that. Like they said it in MKX as well, that they wanted to make Raiden feel like a god, and Raiden ended up being like he was good at the start, and then they made his forward one a high instead of a mid, and then no one gave a fuck.
Yeah, I didn't like that change. That's probably one reason why I'm not very hyped for MK11 Raiden, is because they took out all the cool Thunder God stuff, and that was my favorite thing about him. I think Thunder God is the coolest he's ever looked in any Mortal Kombat game.
I think there's still some shit like that in there. There's definitely where you can mash a button to amplify moves.
Do I mean more the aesthetic though? Like the way
aesthetic,
Raiden
okay.
looked was unbelievable in MKX.
Yeah, he looked amazing in MK.
I like how
I
tall
heard
he
the
is in
Evo
this
trailer,
game.
and I was just floored.
I really like that they were like, "Hey, Raiden's supposed to be tall. We're gonna make him tall again."
But he was tall in MKX. Like he was really tall in MKX.
They made him. They beefed it up a little bit more in this game because the fucking the old MK1 lore. He's supposed to be like 7 feet tall or some shit. Even though like they squashed all the actor sprites back then to be the same size, so they could all share hitboxes.
It's just Raiden summoning a lightning bolt. It's just not what makes Raiden Raiden to me. That is just not an interesting take on Raiden.
But the way he summons it is really cool.
It's interesting, and I like the lighting effects, but
Like he stomps his foot and there's lightning bolts. I mean, I appreciate kind of my guy's thing, but I thought it was really cool.
It did. He reminds me. He's giving me a strong Black Adam vibe in this game. It's
Yeah, I can see that.
He's in, which also is troubling. This guy's gonna give me.
But I mean, I think from a Nightwolf perspective, if Rain is basically confirmed and Raiden is doing that, it may be time to worry about Nightwolf.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I've been worrying for a while, so that definitely didn't put my mind at ease by any means. But
which is weird because I mean, if you were to tell me, again that MKX is fixing MK9, if you want to use Razor's term, or bringing people's names back from, or even just bringing characters back from MK9, Nightwolf is one of the first ones I'd have gone, and I think he'd fit this game really, really well. He'd fit the aesthetic. I think he'd fit the gear. I think he'd fit the meta. If he isn't in the game, he'd fit the story mode very well. If he isn't at least DLC, I question NRS's judgment on that.
I just don't think they know.
I don't know.
I think they don't know he's popular. I think they kind of classify all the MK3 newbies in that, outside of the cyborgs, in that one category. Unfortunately, it's really just the cyborgs and Ermac who get away with it. Even Cabal, Cabal's on top of the mountain, but he's still on that mountain.
And I'd actually say Rain has probably joined that crew as well. They seem to now, after the outcry of Rain and MK9, they seem to think, oh, Jesus, Rain is really fucking popular. And Rain is popular.
Agreed.
But I wouldn't say Rain's probably as popular as Nightwolf. He's probably a more vocal fan base. But I wouldn't have said he's more categorically popular than Nightwolf.
Well, I think Nightwolf will make more lists than Rain, but I think Rain's on more number one spots than Nightwolf. That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it.
We do have some questions for you, by the way.
We do.
Oh yeah, knock yourself out.
Yeah, one of these is we may have to abridge this one because we're on the clock now, but a question for Evan from Armand. Evan, I'm curious about the Irish MK scene and the overall European scene. How popular has MK been in Ireland? What's the history of the scene there? And do different countries have different playstyles throughout Europe? Now, that's probably going to be a very long answer. I would say, yeah, I mean, cover the bases. Feel free. I mean, honestly, take as long as you want, but there's more questions, though. I just didn't realize we had questions till now. My bad.
So, just to, I suppose, go back in time through that, different countries don't really have different playstyles. The main countries in Europe would probably be Ireland, England, France, and Germany, with Austria having quite a strong scene with Viennality. In terms of the history of the MK scene and how popular it is, MK is probably second to Street Fighter, I would have said, in terms of popularity. It dwarfs Tekken, it dwarfs Smash. Well, Smash isn't really a fighting game, but you know what I mean.
Damn.
In terms of the history of the scene, it really only MK9, and shout outs to guys like Irish Mantis.
Wait, I am so sorry. Is that story about that dude shitting himself in the tournament true? I've been seeing that story fucking all week, and I don't know if it's real or not.
Just for clarity, that's not Irish Mantis. Irish Mantis. That's
we lost you for a second there.
Just to clarify that story, it's not that Irish Mantis shat himself at a tournament. The story, apparently, I think it was Smoke Man who was telling it, is that there was a Smash player who just shit himself at a tournament.
But did it happen, or was it a fucking?
I've heard it from different sources.
Okay,
so...
all right, okay, so it's confirmed with the K, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's,
would you be surprised? It's Smash players.
No, that's not surprising at all. It's just one of those things that's like, it makes so much sense that I just want to make sure before, I mean, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That just popped into my brain when you mentioned Smash, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta check about that Incontinent story. Man, that's fucked up. Smash play. Okay, anyway, go ahead. Yes.
Oh no, I was just about done. I mean, it's the history of the scene is that Irish Mantis and One Man Three Letters, I think their mates going back a good long while. There's them and Lar, and they got together for MK9, and they started the scene, and it kind of grew from there. Considering we're a nation of like 4 million people, and Mantis was the best Injustice 2 player in Europe, and I think the best Johnny Cage. So I think the best Johnny Cage in the world in MKX. I would have said we're punching above our weight in terms of like overall strength. It's not the strongest scene, and disintegrated a little bit. There isn't a huge amount of interest in Injustice, but I'm hoping for MK11 we can get some casuals back and get some offline tournaments. I mean, the biggest tournament over here is Celtic Throwdown, and that happens in late September. I'm actually planning on going into it this year. If work pans out that I'm free and I'm free to get some practice in. And Celtic Throwdown is one of the bigger tournaments. I'm not sure if it's considered a major. It's certainly not on the same level as, say, Venality. But yeah, you usually get guys coming over from France and Germany in that Celtic Throwdown.
I actually envy you, man, because it's really nerve-wracking that my first big tournament's going to be in May, like 30 days after the game comes out. Not even that, really.
I've been in tournaments before, and I was in the I think I got top 8 in the MKX opening tournament over here.
Nice.
That was reasonably big. We had guys coming over from all of Ireland for that. But yeah, if I go into Celtic Throwdown, it'll be on stream. But I don't anticipate going very deep into it, but it'll be my biggest tournament, certainly.
Okay, well, I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to learn anything in 30 days. Like, I'm just afraid all the heavy shit is going to take too long to
just
break down.
Pick up a zoning character. Like, if there's anything I've learned from early month tournaments, just pick, like, the Deathstroke or the Jackie or the Kano or whatever.
It worked with KI. I went to the Xbox release tournament for KI, and I got 28th place out of 130 people.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, they were scrub wins, but still, I was playing people who had not played video games before. So
pick Scarlet, you'll be fine.
That's an unfortunate possibility. I may have to pick Scarlet. We'll see. Fingers crossed for the roster, but we do appreciate the question, Armand.
He answered the fuck out of that question.
I forgot we had questions. I completely forgot we had questions. So yeah, thanks for letting us know, man. Second question from Cartuthalo. Question for Evan. Which character or characters are you the most hyped to see get revealed? He is excited for Liu Kang, Jade, New Brain, Jackie.
Hey, there's another Jackie fan. That's 3 Jackie fans. There's me, K2LO.
He's trolling you. Don't buy it.
And I know Judgment Fist is a Jackie. I wouldn't, even if Jackie's in the game, wouldn't be. I love the girl, but we don't need Jackie in this game. Although if she's not in this game, when will she come? In terms of characters I'm most hyped for, I've never been particularly into Jade. I do like Liu Kang, but I could do, like, we haven't had a game without Liu Kang. We've had one game without Liu Kang. That's actually a Deadly Alliance. I'm in a position right now where I'm really ready to see a lot of people sit out. Even like people like Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Katana, Kenshi. I'm more than ready to see those fuckers sit out. So for
all
me,
those are confirmed but one.
Yeah,
Kenshi's the only one on that list who's not in yet.
And honestly, I think Kenshi will be in, which is very disappointing to me.
I like Kenshi. Why I always want Kenshi to fucking sit out? What did he do?
Because Kenshi's always in these fucking games. He's the role.
He's not always in these games. He was in like one game that he wasn't DLC in the past like 15 years.
He's missed one game. He's missed one last.
Kenshi has plenty of games ahead of him before, in my opinion, before he needs to sit out one. I'm glad that they pulled him up.
Like, but when I look at MKX, the characters who most needed to not be there are like Kenshi and Kung Lao. They have no business being in that game. There's no need for them in that game, and it's in MKX. It's jarring.
They had to have fucking Kenshi and MKX. They had Takeda in there.
He could have been an NPC. He could have been Baraka. He was there to get bodied.
No one could be Baraka. Only Baraka can fill Baraka's spot.
I mean, I love Kenshi, but I'm just tired of the fact that he became the treehouse president of the 3D era. That's the only thing I'm worn out on.
Yeah, I'm very. That's a great way to put it. We can have one. It's like when they say we have MK4. You mean you have Quan Chi? We have 3D representation. You mean you have Kenshi? I don't want to see Ken. It's not that I dislike Kenshi.
Armageddon doesn't count for Bumblefoot. Ever.
In terms of characters I'm most hyped for from that list, definitely Noob and Rain. Really interested to see what they can do with Rain from a main roster perspective. It's hugely overdue having Rain in there from a main roster. Really looking forward to seeing Noob. He was my main in MK9. I think he's one of the showiest characters. I think he's one of the coolest characters. I really hope as I still hold up the new reveal trailer from MK9 as like
Yes.
the peak of NRS marketing.
It was pretty
That was
sick.
That
amazing.
might be the best fighting game trailer of all
Yep,
time.
it was a good one.
Yeah, even the way it ends with his victory pose is brilliant.
The stinger at the end, I love it.
Yeah, with him with his back to him. Yeah, Noob I'd be hyped for. I would be. I suppose I'm hyped for Shang Tsung. I'm not confident he'll be in. I mean, it would be very weird if he wasn't, and I feel it would be a conscious dick move to have Liu Kang throwing flaming skulls and not have Shang Tsung in the game. But I don't know. I have to reserve judgment on that. But Shang Tsung being my favorite character, I'm very hyped to see Shang. After that, I'm fairly ambivalent. I have to admit. I'd love to see Smoke. That's about it, really. And Nightwolf, actually, I'd be very, very hyped to see Nightwolf. What I really need to see is like underappreciated 3D era characters. Not 3D.
It's an oxymoron.
Trilogy characters. So the likes of even Sindel, I don't like Sindel. Seeing Sindel would be cool. Like when Razor talks about Shiva, Shiva would be amazing in this game. I don't like Shiva. No one likes Shiva.
No one likes Shiva.
But no one likes Shiva. But it would be so cool to see a character that they've basically never done anything with and put it in this game and give them all that attention. It's like Baraka. I mean, Baraka was kind of part of the furniture in MK9, and now he's the star of the show. And they took Scarlet from a bikini and some blood and gave her this incredible design. So I'm really hyped to see them kind of take characters like Rain, like Shiva, like Sindel, like Stryker if he's in. I mean, he's not, but if he was in, and overhaul them that way. That's what I'm hyped for.
I'm gonna laugh.
You could put.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say you could put Jade into that category. I've never been a particular Jade fan. Outside of the pictures, temperature setting.
Oh my god, everyone's wanting Jade. Oh, I forgot about those.
I'm a fan of those pictures, man. If never mind Jade, if this cosplayer is Jade, I am maining Jade.
When you said there was an attractive cosplayer who played Jade, I didn't realize I was going to turn into an alleyway transaction for pics, dude. Yes, I found some Google images. She's very attractive.
She's incredibly attractive. But yeah, that's who I'd be most hyped for.
Well, I might as well say her name. It's Anya.
Yeah, you should. Just give her some credit.
It's Anya Chios. She's lovely. She's a very, very good cosplayer. There's her. She was an amazing Jade cosplayer. And shout out to Royal Storm. I'm not sure if I said this on or off stream. Royal Storm was a Katana cosplayer there at the London event, and she was honestly the best cosplayer I've ever seen. Her Katana was just incredible.
Yeah, and one shout out to the cosplayers is the Scorpion cosplayer who went to the LA event. They asked her, "What are you hoping to see?" And she said, "I honestly would love to see Lee May back," and that made me the happiest I've ever been in life since I was a child. So yeah, I'm glad that's live, and even if she doesn't come back, I'm glad that comment, that response, is forever burned into the history of the reveal event. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody is going to get a 3, I feel like Lee May's probably in a lot stronger position than anywhere else than most other characters. But I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah, like I said, if I get one of the 3, I'll be extremely forgiving of the roster. But I need one of those 3.
I think you get Smoke. I think you can rest easy on Smoke.
I think of the 3 I want, he's the most likely, yes. But I've been so wrong before.
Remain careful, Tim. Don't fucking, don't do it.
If I had to pick one lock for MKX, it'd be Fujin.
Don't put yourself in that Fujin position from MKX. Like
it would be as weird as Fujin not after this and 6 DLC in pack 1, and if they do, they probably do a pack 2 of maybe 4 characters.
Well, you clipped out about the Fujin part. I think I missed the.
Sorry, I was just saying it would be as weird as it was that Fujin wasn't an MKX. When all is said and done in MK11, if they've done the base roster, Combat Pack 1 of 6 characters, and then Combat Pack 2 of, say, 4, if Smoke isn't anywhere in that, that's weirder than Fujin not being in it.
I agree.
I think
Especially
that
with
would
the
be
way the game is built, for sure.
yeah. That would to me almost feel like a deliberate fuck if smoke isn't in there.
I always say I never place my bets on DLC because I can't game for a character that's not going to be available till like spring 2020. I just can't do
Yeah.
it. If they're not on the main roster, it's almost the same as them not being in the game.
Yeah, I've never
Um,
made a DLC. I know you Starfire was your secondary, wasn't
um, I would say overall secondary,
Yeah,
yes. I kind of
man.
split duties between Green Lantern and Blue Beetle. I would probably say if I went to tournament with Injustice, I probably would have gone Lantern. But I would
it?
say
Really?
Starfire is my true secondary. Oh yeah.
Because that's weird. Because of Starfire, Lantern, and Beast, Lantern is by far the weakest of those characters.
I just clicked with him. I just really liked his mid range a lot. I thought it was
Yeah,
very potent.
he's got that back one.
Yeah, I just felt like my favorite thing about Lantern was the safety. I felt like I could play the mid range game, and if I guessed wrong, well, I could reset the neutral easier than any other character.
Yeah,
I did
that's
not
true.
feel that way with Starfire at all.
Well, that's
Starfire's
just
bullshit,
Starfire.
dude.
The way
Starfire's
Starfire was meant to be played is not how I wanted to play the game.
God, she's
Yeah,
bullshit.
Starfire plays the way I want to play fighting games.
Ugh.
You stay over there, and I'll
Oh
just.
my god.
That's how I want to play games.
She's fun. I miss her.
Watching like
But-
Hayate trying to get around to Starfire with
Oh,
Robin.
that's a beautiful sight.
Oh,
Seeing
dude.
Tweety Starfire versus Hayate's Rock.
He's working so hard.
You poor brave bastard.
He's fucking doing like the fucking like jumping around like laser fields, like Mission Impossible shit or whatever, dodging all these fucking lasers. Man, Starfire's bullshit.
I think that covers everything, right?
Did that cover everything?
I don't think there's
I mean-
more questions.
No, I don't think there is any more questions. If anybody in the chat wants to know anything, speak now or forever hold your peace. I've plenty of notes, but that's basically it from me. I can't wait for the game. I can't wait for the Nethercast coverage of it from Warrior Shrine and from the main show.
Stop it. Stop it. It's gonna be
See
bad.
see me being nice there, offering an olive branch.
GG's.
But yeah, I'm very, very excited for this game. I think we have a great game in store for us. I really hope they don't give in to too much of the bullshit internet whining, and I really think it could be great for the community as well.
Hopefully. Although I'm gonna laugh if they do it. If Baraka gets fucking nerfed between now and release, and he's shit tier again, like MK9. Because man, like he was obviously very good in that demo, and a lot of people were playing him and having fun playing him.
I know Tweety said his spark wasn't even that good. That's Tweety trolling. His spark was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I've
not
heard.
gonna lie, it was pretty fucking good.
It's like just
it
leave
was-
him, just let Baraka be good. It's okay. Like maybe it wasn't so good that he was in the demo because then NRS can see everyone playing him and liking him. Oh, you guys like Baraka, huh? Well,
But I think what Baraka will end up being is like a really all of his crushing blows are punishes, and he's got great range. That's where I see Baraka thriving as a really excellent, because he could whiff punish you for like 50-60% with no resource spent, just on crushing blows. He could be a sick character.
leave him alone, NRS. Leave him alone. Let him matter. We'll be all right. Okay, listen. How much higher? Like how high did your hype jump whenever they announced Ronda Rousey was doing Sonya's voice?
Oh fucking! I never liked Ronda Rousey.
That didn't do anything for you?
It didn't do anything for me. As an MMA guy, I appreciated Ronda, but I never particularly entertaining. She's a great judoka. Take nothing away from her judo. She's a hell of a judoka. But I suppose kind of my philosophy on, and this is going to get kind of wanky, I suppose.
Wanky.
Like if you can't take a punch in the face, you shouldn't be in combat sports.
Oh.
And I mean that both from a physical perspective and like a psychological perspective. And Ronda cannot take a punch to the face either in striking or in terms of a loss. And so for me, whenever it's because everybody gets fucking knocked out. Everybody loses. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of the nature of the business. If you fight
Well, sure, yeah.
people who are of your skill, same in fighting games. Everybody's going to lose. You're going to lose to people who are a lot worse than you. Shit happens.
Oh man, Superman players. Yeah.
And seeing Ronda kind of lionize always pisses me off a little bit, because I mean she was great for her era, but she's not Amanda Nunes. She's definitely not Chris Cyborg. But she is what she is, and she's been pretty good in WWE. I'm not hyped for her playing Sonya at all. Her voice work, from what I've heard, really is incredibly flat. Like when you listen for it and think, I can hear Ron, but otherwise it almost sounds, it's so deadpan and so flat. I think it's really, really harsh on Trisha Helfer, who played Sonya in MKX, and I thought was honestly one of the standout performances in that game. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. She really captured Sonya.
She did good. She really pulled off that Quan Chi nut crunch very well. She delivered it. You bought it. She made you believe.
Yeah. There was her, and I know Razor doesn't like the cast in the change in Johnny from MK9 to MKX. I really like Johnny in MKX. He's even got that line, she called me Johnny. I think that's a phenomenal line. Yeah, that's a phenomenal line. And I feel very, very I feel very bad for Trisha Helfer, because she couldn't have done a better job in MKX, and she got shafted for someone with name value and very little else.
Yeah, I would expect more of that. Some people will be happy with the choices. The rumor is that Kerry Tagawa is going to be Shang Tsung. I don't know how true that is.
I'd be okay with that.
I don't want to believe it, because then I'll just be sad when it's not true.
Yeah, if it's not true, and I believe that. But I'd have no problem with Kerry, I can't pronounce his name, I'm going to call him CHT. I'd have no problem with CHT being Shang Tsung, because the guy who did Shang Tsung in MK9 was a bit nondescript. No offense to the man if he ever hears this.
Yeah.
Unlikely. He didn't make much of an impression. He was a croaky old dude. Meh. And Kerry CHT. He, like, when I think of Shang Tsung, he is Shang Tsung. And everyone always gravitates towards the MK movie version of it, and rightly so. But for me, he was the highlight of Legacy as well. Devil on the shoulder kind of thing with Shang Tsung and Luke. I really like that. I thought that was a really strong point, possibly the only strong point of Legacy. So I'd be really happy to get Kerry CHT back.
CHT. I keep asking the thing about Rhonda. If she elevated anyone's hype about MK11, because I just am wondering like who they did that for, because I don't know. I want to know if there's someone out there who's like, their hype increased because of Rhonda's inclusion. I'm sure that there's someone out there. I'm sure there's people
there probably is multiple people out there, but like, and it's not going to turn anyone off. No one is not going to buy this game because Ronda Rousey is Sonya Blade. Maybe Travis Brown's ex-missus is. Google that if you don't know what I'm referring to.
Nope.
Maybe Google Travis Brown. It's Ronda Rousey. So charming man. But yeah, it's a good ploy to get more name recognition out there. For me, it was a shrug, and I thought it took way at the reveal show.
God, it took so long at the reveal show.
Yeah, no one was there to see Ronda Rousey. That was, and hear her like Triple H being Kano and stuff like that, which is a cool visual, I'll admit. Yeah, that was. I understand why they did it, to get a bit of glamour and try and bring Mortal Kombat back to where it was in the mid-90s, if at all possible. But yeah, I wasn't hyped for it at all. That and the 200. Well, I think it's 200. It's £200. I think it's €250, $300. Scorpion statue that you can't even.
Oh, what? Dude, everyone was hyped about that shit. I gotta get mine right now. Joe Rogan to play it, dude.
Joe Rogan playing MK11 would be hilarious. Every intro quote would be like, "Have you ever smoked DMT?"
Okay,
that would be
Joe Rogan. That would make me a little more hype. Like, I'm not gonna buy it because of Joe Rogan. I don't know if anyone would buy it because of Joe Rogan's inclusion, but I don't know that would bring something that wasn't there before for me, depending on who he's playing.
I would accept Quan Chi coming back if it's Joe Rogan.
Oh, that would be sick. Okay,
God, that'd be so funny.
That would be brilliant. I don't even like Joe Rogan, but that would be brilliant.
You know what? Yeah. NRS, come on, make it happen. Listen, you guys are fucking apparently okay with bringing in not even like actors. Like, you guys are bringing in pop culture personalities to act in this game. So, you know, fucking roll out the red carpet. Get fucking, you know, I don't know, other pop culture personalities that I am not plugged in enough to be able to think about.
Well, you know what actually, you know what was, thinking about the Scorpion statue, what was really funny is like a legitimate mask. And I was like, that's a lot of money, but I would sit and wear that while playing the And I was talking to a dude in the lobby, and he thought it was a mask too, and the girl working the merch booth was like, no, it's a statue. And we looked at each other, and we both went, I'm not fucking paying for this. Very, very good.
It's not a mask, you nerds. You can't put it on. God.
Yeah. And I was like, well, why is it just a statue of Scorpion's head?
That's the appropriate question. But why?
I would love to see the figures on who the fuck buy. I would love to see how many editions of that sell.
Well, apparently Mustache got fucking hot and bothered over it during the show.
What the fuck is Mustache?
I don't know that guy's name. The guy who was the host of the thing on the microphone the whole time. The guy with the mustache. What was his name?
Oh yeah, that douche.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
His name's Mustache.
It's Joshua Gray.
Josh, yeah, that's the one.
Yes, it's Mustache.
I don't dislike the guy. I just think he has kind of a Hunger Games vibe, but other than that, he's alright.
I don't hate him. He hasn't done anything to me. It's just, you know, he's got a mustache, and he was a little overhyped about that statue.
So I didn't find him as offensive as I found. I'm loving.
Who might have cut out.
Yeah, who'd you find offensive?
Fucking hell! I found 16-bit's new hair offensive.
Dude, 16-bit.
I'm so happy that the guy's gotten shit so much weight. I'm so fucking chuffed for the guy. And anybody listening, you know, if you need to lose weight, you can, you can do it, and it's a fucking great thing to do for yourself. But what his hair is now like? He's got a pink fringe, and I'm like,
yeah, he turned into a. He got his fucking soul. That's what I said. Shang stole his soul and turned him into a little scene kid. I didn't know about him losing the weight. Like Tim told me, it's like it's 16-bit, and I was like, wait, I hear him. Where is he? And I had both streams up. I had the London stream and the American one.
I think he's lost over 100 pounds now. He's under 200 now.
Yeah, he's had to. Yeah.
And fair play to him. He's done a phenomenal job.
He did it so quick as well. He did.
Yeah, he really did. Like, I remember a couple of summers ago, I had to get in. I signed up for a jiu-jitsu competition, kind of later than I should have, and I ended up having to cut a lot of weight, and I ended up, I think, 20% of my body weight in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, that fucking hurt.
Yeah, I bet. I'm surprised you're alive.
He's lost not more than that in a sustainable way in probably a year since he started doing it. Yeah. Yeah, he looks great. Like you'd barely recognize him. He looks phenomenal. And I think it's a real pity he
at all.
Yeah, I just think it's a pity he's not around now, because I often wonder, like, you look at guys like the FGC is really weird in that there's people who are, say, like Forever King or like me, who are really into the gym, and there's people like, say, 16-bit, or I don't think it's offensive to say Tweety is not into the gym.
Oh, dude, come on.
And well, it's not.
Come on.
I've often wondered, like, because it's a very tense situation, and I wonder if, like, having cardio helps. I'd like to see the comparison of, like, before and after cardio in a fighting game. But yeah, fair play to 16-bit. He looks so healthy, minus the shit hair.
Yeah, listen, it's quite a feat he's pulled off. I just didn't know. I didn't know he lost weight. I didn't know anything about it until Temp was saying it while we were watching the thing. And I was looking for him because I heard his voice and I couldn't find him anywhere. I was staring at him.
Yeah,
but I couldn't find him.
Really look like, if you remember the kind of old 16-bit with the belly and the big buffy hair and the huge beard, you're like, what the fuck is he? And then it's that dude there, purple pink hair. It's a fucking sea change.
GG's 16-bit, for swapping your variations so quickly.
Yeah, fair play, 16-bit, if you're listening to this, which is unlikely. If you are, fair play, man.
He's listening. He loves this. No, he's not listening.
Watch him buff up like fucking like crazy Deltoids.
Let me see. I mean, is that it? Was there any more questions?
Well, I'm out of time, so it's got to be it.
We've kept all you people from playing Resident Evil 2 for so long. I am sorry. I understand.
I can't play it.
And studying if you're a good person. Temp is. You're responsible. I'm proud of you.
I try. I don't know how far I get. We'll knock out like 7 pages, and then I'll be back into Raccoon City. Who knows, man?
You guys are making me want to play. Maybe I will get that game and play it. I don't know. I was having fun watching a stream of it earlier. We'll see.
Are you studying philosophy again, Temp, yeah?
Oh, no, not anymore. Well, I mean, I already got my philosophy degree, so I'm studying for cybersecurity now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, cybersecurity. He's going to be a fucking cyborg. He's going to be Cyrax. That's what that sounds like to me. And it sounds sick.
Dude, you're going to get scar, Django. I'm going to have to hunt you down, man.
That sounds... I already have a scar. I've got a
You're
giant...
Getting a cool red one.
I've got a giant scar across my forehead. I don't need another one. Just let me keep my one. It'll be fine. I don't like sharing my lore. That's it. We said that we were done, didn't we? Yeah, we gotta...
I think we did.
We're over. Man, I don't even... Temp, wrap up the podcast for me. I'm sleepy.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. As you can tell, we love the game. We do. Maybe that didn't come across in the reaction video, but if you still haven't figured that out,
God.
GG, get out of here.
Yeah.
We clearly do. I'm sorry you can't.
We'd love that
at this point, but
and listen, we're not going to skip your questions either. Okay, listen.
At least not on purpose. We won't do it on purpose.
Well, yeah. Like if the questions in there that we didn't get to this time, we'll visit them. We'll do it next time. It'll be good.
And let us know, because sometimes we just don't know. If we accidentally skip a question, we may not figure it out till like a year later. So just tell us. There may be a reason. Sometimes there's a reason, but
yes.
Yeah, sometimes we just don't
know. And thank you,
Evan,
for getting up at the butt crack of Irish dawns to talk to us about fighting games.
Oh, it's no problem. It's only half an hour.
And also, thank you for confirming Takeda for me. That is a big deal. And
you son of a bitch.
I am over the moon. I'm so happy.
Yeah, super appreciated, man. Thank you for joining us as always.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure. It always makes my week to come on and talk shit with you boys.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, it does. And I look forward to being on again whenever the next time is.
You definitely will. Yeah, next in line is Down 4. Then after that, we'll probably circle back to you.
Yeah, Down 4 is wanting to talk about Cabal. He's psyched.
Yeah, well, he's the Cabal player, so he should definitely be on.
Mm-hmm. He's very happy.
I'm not even gonna get a chance to watch the live stream.
I'm gonna laugh. Yeah, I'm in the same, but I work that day. I can't watch it live.
When is that?
Yeah, it's Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday evening for me.
Yeah, it's coming up.
It's this coming. Is it this upcoming Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
It is indeed, sir. It is indeed.
I didn't know that. That's hype.
I'm gonna laugh if Down 4 salts off and Cape Cabal like he's all slow and shit. I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard.
Oh man, poor Cabal. Man, I'm psyched for that too. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back next time, and we'll see you then. Say bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
All right, bye bye.
No.